Standing by.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Complete.
At last, the multi-dimensional portal is open. Konnichigen, it's your favorite superstar, the multi-dimensional Tajigen, Kaiden, a sentient star cluster in virtual idol form. I almost was not able to take this form today. My VTuber software was failing. It says the message right there in the lower left, but I retracted the message. Man, we were having similar issues in which some deleted messages or retracted messages were still showing up in the little chat widget or whatever you want to call it. That's a problem. I don't like that. I retracted the message because the moment I said that, the program was finally going live. Now, that being said, there may be a few crashes or something. Maybe I'll just like freeze in shot for a moment or something. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Whew, it's Golf City today. It's Golf City today, man. I am a little bit sick. If you've been hearing my updates on Twitter and Discord, I'm still a little bit sick, more than I would like to be. But you know, I get the feeling that you wouldn't be able to tell if I weren't telling you, because yeah, I am good enough for the stream. I was like less energetic earlier today. Like I had to be with a super soft voice. I was like, I thought it would be the same for this stream. To an extent, but yeah. 2 days ago I was getting better from the sickness that has overtaken me as of late. But yesterday there was an insane relapse. One of those relapses that gets worse than how it was before, actually. I was just awful yesterday. I went to sleep as soon as possible, not too late. Slept as much as I could today. Oh man, yeah. My head has been ringing. I think I know what people mean when they say their head is ringing now. It's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling. But anyway, we are here though. And yeah, yesterday's Twitch stream had to be called off, had to be cancelled. I hate that. It was gonna be Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. We were gonna have a chill time, just trying not to get destroyed by opponents in duel monsters and all that. I'm gonna set the Hoenn Lo-Fi mix now. So I'm gonna try not to take too long with the stream today, as we build like the ultimate TM Hoenn League right here. And that's what we're gonna have. We're gonna do the same thing we've been doing the last streams, doing a maximum potential, so to speak, team for all the gym leaders, Elite Four members, champions, player characters, rivals, and some other notable characters. This all comes from a game idea I've had lately that is a fan game of each Pokemon's region that combines elements of many Pokemon games. So for example, for Kanto, it combines elements from all the Kanto games, but also beyond. And it's a super open world game, kind of a theme park you might call it, because you have the option to have 18 gyms, and each of them is one type. It's one of the game's objectives to beat all the gyms and get all their badges. However, you still only need 8 badges to go for the tournament, the conference. There is no Elite Four anymore. There's still a champion. This is the part that I haven't fully fleshed out. I am actually reconsidering re-adding an Elite Four, but they wouldn't be type specialists anymore. They would maybe specialize in like 2 types at once or have something kind of general, but still not as like varied as the Champions Party, you might say. But yeah, the gyms are 18. Collecting all the 18 badges grants you the right to challenge the champion or to challenge the Elite Four and champion if there's an Elite Four. For now, we're going to assume there's no Elite Four because the Elite Four have now become the gym leaders of their type, as we will see later. And the other thing to do is to get 8 badges to qualify for the tournament and to win the tournament. That gives you the right to challenge the champion. You are an elite ranked trainer, not a champion ranked trainer, when you achieve either of these 2 objectives. Alternately, a third objective is to complete the Pokédex. And maybe that also does give you the right to challenge the champion. So the Pokédex completion, the treatment of the Pokédex, the amount of people that have a Pokédex becomes different. It's a very common thing to have now, to have a Pokédex. A lot of people have it. I had this also great idea to change the starters so that there's more than the traditional 3. And you have at least 18 starters because you have one for every type. So this means that, yes, you have the option to start with a Dratini in Kanto or something like that. That's what I was thinking. You probably have more than 18 though, because there's a few other Pokemon that appear there. A few that are gimmicky. And there are 2 things that happen with your starter that sets it apart from others. So, you know, every Pokemon will be acquirable. So the ones that are the traditional 3 starters, in this case, Mudkip, Chikorita, and Torchic. No, wait, Chikorita. Mudkip, Torchic, and Trico. I'm getting it wrong. They are acquirable in other places. You can catch them somewhere else. They probably are rare, like 5% or 1%. I mean, as rare as Pikachu is in Viridian Forest, I would say. 5% is like a good way to do it. I think 1% is excessive. It does make them more commonplace, but I don't think it's a bad price to pay, so to speak. Now, you would be able to choose between 18 plus starters, and when you choose your starter, to make it be able to stand out and make the decision matter to an extent, because you can still acquire any of these Pokemon somewhere else, your starter would probably have an egg move. So I was thinking of Chikorita because I saw that the Chikorita you get, so Chikorita, Cyndaquil, Totodile, you get a special version of that in Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness if you complete Mount Battle, which is another inspiration behind this. It's like a Pokemon arcade mode of sorts. And I've had this idea for a while of a Mount Battle for every region, in which every 5 or 10 battles or so, you face one of the gym leaders until eventually one of the last opponents in the last, you know, so it's 100 opponents in a row in competitive rules. Well, actually, they have another version that's not like competitive rules, but yeah, so in the final area, the last, you know, numbers 91 through 100, Area 10 as it gets called, you would have the champion, player characters, rivals, stuff like that. Because it's fun to make the rivals and player characters also their own characters, in a way. At least for me it is, and we will be making parties for them as we've done before. So now, that's part of the idea. Yeah, what I saw from that Chikorita is that it's a Chikorita that knows Ancient Power, which is a rock type move. Chikorita is a grass type that remains pure grass type throughout its entire evolutionary line. So that's a big deal to have a move like that, and it's a special one because of this. I'm also reminded of the Dratini that you get in the Dragon's Den in Johto that knows extreme speed right off the bat. You get it at level 15. In this case, the starters would still be level 5. Maybe I would make them be level 1, honestly. I kind of like the idea of literally starting at level 1, but that's another story. Your theory? Yeah, if it's about Pokemon, go ahead. Go nuts with it. This is a sort of fan game idea. There's this website that actually has a thread for those who have all the ideas for like fan edits of games. Not just Pokemon, but all sorts of games. And he literally says, for those without the skills but with all the ideas, and that's me. I would love to modify a ROM or even make this an RPG Maker. RPG Maker is something I want to learn anyway. Eventually. I don't see myself learning coding or programming anytime soon. You don't have to necessarily take a full 4-year degree or something like that for it, but it tends to be better if you do, I think. And at the same time, I've seen there's courses that are like 3, 6, 9 months, something like that. How babies' heads are squishy. Can you punch a hole in the head and make it into a soup bowl? Well, I don't think you should try that with an actual baby. Don't try that with an actual baby. I have seen in Doctor Who that happen. Bowl of soup. There was this episode in the first season of the 12th Doctor, which is series 8 of the new series, I think, in which they have this creature just mess around with people's heads, and literally their heads end up like a bowl of soup. Like, their brain just gets literally melted, and it shows on the outside too. One of them was... Yeah, they showed this with a person that was pretty much bald, so you were able to see this. He was a grown person, not a baby. And he's like... It literally becomes like a bowl of soup. Like, the dent on the head and it looks all jiggly, squishy. You can tell the brain literally melted on the inside. It's freaky, but Doctor Who is known for having freaky things like that a lot of the time. Makes me think of that. But don't do that to a baby, poor thing. You're probably gonna go to prison for that. Not even jail, prison. Jail or prison. So, back to the Pokemon stuff I was talking about. I'm picturing the start of the game to be one in which there's literally dozens, probably, or about 20 or so trainers appear in the Pokemon lab of the professor of the region, which is a lot. But every single one of them chooses a starter, and some of them are the player characters and rivals, because you, as the new player character on this, you get to fully customize yourself. You can make yourself look like Red, but there will still, whether you do that or not, Red still appears there as a character of his own. And he starts, I would say, with Bulbasaur because of the party we gave him. This is not the Red that has the 3 starters. This is the Red that has Bulbasaur, which is something they also reflected in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Minor spoilers there. But yeah, Pokemon Adventures is the same. And we're basing a lot of these parties on Pokemon Adventures, for the most part. So, yeah. So you would have, for example, in Kanto, or well, we should say Hoenn. Let me take a look at my Excel document. This is where I have all the information we're going to be making use of today. There would appear about 20 trainers or so. Only a few of those trainers would actually make it to Elite rank, which is the completion of the Pokédex, earning 18 badges, or qualifying for the tournament and beating it. So you would see May appear there, and she would choose Torchic as her starter. Brendan would appear there, and he would choose Mudkip as his starter. A new character called Emerald, not Wally, would appear there, based on a character from the Adventures manga, and he would choose Trico, as his starter. Wally may appear there and have Ralphs as his starter, or we may preserve the original story from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, in which he appeared later at the Petalburg gym and did something like that. Let me take care of this spam right there, very quickly. If it doesn't update in the chat, then I'm gonna have to unfortunately, this doesn't update in real time in the chat, so until I can figure this out, we're gonna have to be without a chat window for the streams now. So we'll remove it also when we get to the other window right there. It looks kind of weird with the live GCan being there like that, but it's how it's gonna have to be. This is Stream Element's fault, it's not my own. For not updating it properly, because on Twitch, they do update it properly. You time somebody out, you delete their messages, it immediately updates properly. So it's weird. It's really weird that it doesn't do that properly. But anyway. Yeah, so who else was there? And well, for example, in Kanto, Red would choose Bulbasaur, Blue would choose Charmander, Leaf would choose Green Leaf, I like to call her. Kind of like Legolas Green Leaf. She would choose Squirtle. And if there's other characters, yeah, Chase from, you know, the male player character for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, he would choose Pikachu, or even Pichu maybe. And Elaine, the female player character in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, would choose Eevee. And Trace, I don't know what he would choose. Something else, or another Eevee or Pikachu or something like that. Yeah, I would just give him an entirely different character. We didn't make parties for them actually. Now we like to do parties for them. But yeah, this is the idea. And there's like over a dozen people starting their journey with a Pokemon from the Pokemon Professor. In the case of Hoenn, it's Professor Birch. Only a few of them actually make it to a very elite point by either earning 18 badges or winning the conference, the main tournament of the conference. I've already decided. I think on the conference is a name that's taken from the anime, but to make it sound more like a conference and less than a tournament, the conference is this thing that happens every season where they have multiple tournaments and also some champion challenges on stadiums and such, much like what Galar does with the champion challenge. If there's ever a championship challenge off-season, before, you know, they do the season finale with all the tournaments at the conference, it doesn't happen in a stadium, it probably happens in its own room, like in the original games, but it still gets recorded and broadcast to people. Either live or maybe pre-recorded later. It could still be done live. Like, anybody who follows the right channels will immediately see a notification, like on YouTube. Like, this is not announced, it's just an impromptu championship challenge, but they still stream it nonetheless. And anyway, for example, in this instance, I would have... Who would do which? I would think Emerald completes the Pokédex, Brendan wins the tournament, and May earns all the 18 badges. In my continuity for this, I would have May be the daughter of Norman. So either Brendan or May becomes the child of Norman, the normal type gym leader. Since you're not that player character anymore, Norman is not your father. It's the father of either Brendan or May, and in this case, I'm gonna have to choose May. Brendan, in this case, becomes the grandson of Professor Birch, or the son, I don't remember what it was, but kind of an assistant. Although, it would make more sense for them, it would make more sense for Brendan then to complete the Pokédex. Those rivals who tend to be like the assistant of a professor, it would make sense for them to complete the Pokédex. And you as a player character do it too, but it's implied they do it before you, kind of like Blue in the original games, you're the rival. In Kanto, for example, Red would be the one that earns all the 18 badges, Blue would win the main tournament at the conference, and Leaf would complete the Pokédex. And I don't know about the other characters from Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, that's another story. And I would think Blue challenges for the championship first. There's no champion, so he gets crowned champion first because he did it first, maybe. And it still kind of preserves that element that he becomes champion before Red. And maybe depending on how you do things, you either challenge him or you challenge Red. Like, if you challenge for the championship immediately, after just doing any of those 3 objectives, instead of completing more than 1 before you challenge for the title, then you have Blue. But if you take longer to do it, Red has already beaten Blue. Maybe, that's an idea. All these ideas, man. I have all these ideas for these dream games, if you will. And yeah. Oh yeah, and the conference is a series of tournaments. So they have the main tournament, which is the one where they have Pokemon at their fullest potential. If this is done with competitive rules, they're probably all scaled down to level 50, or scaled up even, or they're scaled up to level 100 if they're not 100 already, something like that. I'm not sure, honestly. If it's done like this, it gives even more reason to keep an Elite Four, which would really change things. But well, that's another story. For now, we're just mostly working on the teams. These teams we're gonna do are all with 6 Pokemon, and they're actually meant to be for competitive rules. As if you are fighting them in the World Tournament in Black 2 and White 2, or the Gym Leader Castle in the Pokemon Stadium games, or perhaps mount battle under competitive rules in the Pokemon Colosseum and the XD games. This is the reason why it says that this experience mirrors those experiences in the description of the video. And yeah, as soon as I can, by the way, once the stream is over, I'll set some timestamps. It wasn't as difficult to do it for the last stream, it doesn't take as long as it seems, and YouTube now just immediately just implements the splits on the bar underneath the video, on the browse bar, whatever it's called. You know, where you browse on the video, on parts of the video. But yeah. Those are the ideas. Yeah, they have different tournaments. There's that one where Pokemon are in their maximum potential, ideally. There's also a little cup, though. There's also a little cup in there. So, taken from the Pokemon Stadium games, from Pokemon Showdown, and other things like that. And again, there's a championship challenge, probably. It could even happen immediately after the main tournament. Say, Ethan wins the tournament and wants to challenge Lance for the title immediately. Or you, as the player character, win the tournament and want to challenge Lance for the title right there. The champion is always available at the end of the season, provided, you know, extra circumstances like they get sick or they die or whatever, you know, don't happen. And it earns you the champion rank. So this is something that's taken from the Scarlet and Violet video games. I'm not gonna say any more though, because it still could be spoilers. As we are about to see in PokeCharms.com, they have a policy for spoilers for the characters they use. By the way, I'm gonna go quickly into stream elements and I'm gonna see if I can do something about these problems that are happening with YouTube. Sorry, I was thinking of the Team Magma music for some reason. You know what? I think we can increase the volume a little bit. Yeah, this is 15%. This is a Hoenn Lo-Fi playlist on YouTube as well, right here on YouTube. But the I need to find a way to make it so that the chat doesn't show deleted messages anymore. I time out someone, I retract my message, I delete a message, and yet it still shows that. Maybe I need to refresh the cache of the current page. Sometimes that's what it takes, but not always. Well, all this... Okay, much better. And to be on the safe side, I'm also going to... remove other things in there. Just in case this was done with... Some things were done with malicious intent. I do apologize if you didn't want your message deleted. That's all I'll say about that. Still, I kind of require you to refresh the cache of the page, which is something you do a lot. As long as that can be done and it does delete it. I remember that the last time I did that, it didn't do any of that. But okay. Sucks that I have to go as far as this, but alright. Taking a look at the settings right now, and it's because I have show messages permanently enabled, but at the same time... I still should remove deleted messages immediately. Messages are delayed by 2 seconds. Okay. Okay. You can ignore any username, so you would ignore maybe the Stream Elements bot. But I'm okay with the Stream Elements commands, bot commands showing. Stream Elements bot running, beep beep. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's go to Poké Charms. But I mentioned the spoiler policy for Scarlet and Violet because their spoiler policy expires on December 1st, which is not that far away now, actually. It's a week away, actually. Like, yeah, it's next week, so there's only one more week. By the time we do the next stream for Sinnoh, if everything goes right, the spoiler policy is already going to be up, so I could operate under a similar policy and make it so that... I gotta say, today I'm using Opera instead of using Google Chrome for the trainer cards, and I gotta tell you, it runs the Poké Charms trainer card maker works a lot better on Opera. Chrome, when I go into the page, it kind of slows down, but you know what I think it is? I have a lot of add-ons on Chrome. It's another reason why it takes a lot of RAM. Chrome is infamous for eating a lot of your RAM, but at the same time, it's also because in my case, I have a ton of add-ons of all sorts, for all sorts of things, all sorts of useful things, I would say. Let me see, give me a second here, I'm gonna show it on the screen. Where do I have it? I don't have an Opera window that I can show here, but... actually, give me a second. As a window capture. So we can use it. And I'll do I'm gonna do some I gotta do a few modifications. Yes, I probably should have done it before the stream, but hey, this time I have an excuse. I am sick. I am not operating at 100% capacity. But yeah, I'm definitely better than yesterday. I hope there's not another relapse. And I continue to be at a good enough state. I'm good enough for streaming. Like, I was considering changing tomorrow to no longer be Final Fantasy XIV. So I can maybe do something more relaxing, something that allows me to pause. Since FF14 is an MMO, I'm gonna try to avoid group content, but... give me a second here. I'm trying to check the Opera thing. Yeah, hold on. Gotta do some modifications to it. Yeah, the transform I have to use is different than the transform I use for Google Chrome. Google Chrome? The Google Chrome? It does look nice, doesn't it? And yeah, they already have a ton of assets from Scarlet and Violet, as you can see. They have it on the modern style, the one that you see on the left. From what I noticed the other day, they still don't have it in the classic Legacy style cards. Which is alright, you know, it takes time to do it on the other one. They prioritize the newer one. That's perfectly alright. So I'm gonna have to stretch it. I hope it doesn't look bad to do it like this, but it is pretty much necessary to work with it. Give me a second. I'm gonna open Twitter right here because the Pokecharm's background kind of looks different. It doesn't let me gauge correctly how things are showing on the screen. Okay, I think it looks well like this. Give me a second as I adjust this. Sorry to be doing it on the stream like this, but again, my days have turned out to be very messed up because I've been so sick. Man, a lot of the things I was in the middle of, lots of projects, lots of work I've been doing has just been completely all over the place. Like, plans have just falling apart like a house of cards because I got sick. Like, there's a lot of things I can't do anymore. Not really. But let's continue here. So we're gonna continue using the Pokemon League background, which is actually from Kanto, but I think it looks universal enough for things. This is only to make it easy on me so I don't have to change the background every time. What I could do, I think, is to have a different background for... actually, never mind. I thought they had a different background. Ooh, look at this. There's also Scarlet and Violet backgrounds already. I thought they had a background for like every type, but they don't. They do have backgrounds for a lot of gyms, from a lot of regions, but then we're gonna have some original characters with new gyms, so it wouldn't really represent it. So this is the Pokemon League in general, right? So this is how it's gonna be. So, finally, let's get started. First, the Rock-type gym leader, Roxanne. Let's try not to take too long with this, because these are turning into 4-hour streams and we're already over 30 minutes into it. Though to be fair, it's because we were at the starting soon screen for a good 10 minutes or so because of the technical issues. BC phase almost didn't start. Apparently, since I updated my graphics drivers recently, there have been some issues with it. And so, yeah. I had to run a .bat file from within the files of the program. And even then, I had to use a new version of BC Phase. I figured, well, I'm still in an older version. It's a small update. It's not like a full, you know how some updates. Oh, whoops! I just opened another instance of it. Hopefully, nothing crashes. You know how some programs get 1.5 and then 2.0 or 1.4, 1.5. BC Phase is currently like in 1.37, 0.38, something like that. So this one is more like a minor update in the sense that it's from 1.37, this is not the exact number, this is just to give you an idea of what I mean, 1.37 to 1.37 sigma or omega. I forgot what symbol they used, but they literally use one of the Greek symbols. Let me take a look at it actually. Oh wait, I can't, never mind. Yeah, okay, you're seeing a little bit of the interface there, I think, but yeah, it kind of shows there 1.13.38b. And I think that's the beta symbol. I'm not sure. So I figured the one I had was the one without the beta symbol, if that's what that symbol means. So, the signature Pokemon of Roxanne is Nosepass, later becomes Probopass in the World Tournament in Black 2 and White 2, and in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because it's an evolution that's introduced after Generation 3. So last week we actually gave a few gym leaders non-fully evolved Pokemon. I would be compelled to give her a Nosepass instead of a Probopass for this reason, to keep more the connection to the original generation that this was introduced in, and the region. You know, you might say Nosepass is more of a Hoenn Pokémon than Probopass is, but I have also come up with the game ideas even more since then, and I figured that besides this team should be the maximum potential of every Pokemon. So all of them should be in their fully evolved forms if possible, especially because this might be a full game in which you also have gym leader trainers before you face the gym leader, and those are the trainers that may have a non-fully evolved Pokemon like Nosepass. There may be a trainer in the Rosboro gym, especially because in my version there are more trainers than in the original. because you don't have to face the Rosboro gym as your first gym anymore. So there may be a trainer with a nose pass, even though it's more like the signature Pokemon of Roxanne and such. So she gets Probopass. This means that, yes, indeed, I probably have to revisit the teams from some of the previous characters, but I'm not going to do a whole other stream for that. If I ever do a video presenting this proposal for this game or these teams and everything, I will do that. So I'm going to try to speed through them because I want to do the same thing I did on the last game, which is to take a look at the summary. Just do a little slideshow of them at the end. Okay, so the last Pokemon, what can it be? So the last Pokemon can be either a Golem or a Nosepass. And the reason why I don't want to give her a Golem is because... I want as many Pokemon introduced in Generation 3 as possible, and the least amount of Pokemon that are shared between gym leaders, the better. Brock has a Golem, after all. Olivia is probably going to have an Alolan Golem over at Alola. She's the Rock-type expert in Alola. What did I do for the Johto trainer, actually? Let me take a look at my gallery very quickly. I am going to need to consult it later as we start saving these trainer cards. Trainer cards are nice. The trainer card creator is a nice thing from Pokecharms, because it makes everything look so fancy like this. It's really nice. Rather than presenting you a tedious-looking Excel document, which is where I did it at first. That's how obsessive I am. The Rock-type gym leader for Johto, who is not Brock, did not have a Golem. They have Sudowoodo, Mega Tyranitar, Corsola, Shuckle, Magcargo, and Rhyperior. But, that being said, I did say that I wanted her to have fully evolved Pokemon for the entire party, and to avoid repeating an evolutionary line even. So I am gonna give her a Golem. Regular Cantonian Golem. And that's gonna be it for Roxanne. There's another pun being done there, like with Brock. Roxanne. Rock, Brock, right? What is her name in Japanese? I actually don't know. I probably should open a tab for the league page, the Hoenn League page on Bulbapedia, as I've been doing for the last streams. Right now I'm saving it on my PC. That's why I'm just in this page, but I'm actually saving it. It doesn't show you when I do that, which is good. Let me go to Bulbapedia here. Just by default goes to this page, I don't know why. Actually, let me zoom in a little bit and let me open the Hoenn League page. One more thing I have to say also regarding potential Scarlet and Violet spoilers. Tsutsuji. Okay, Tsutsuji. What does her name mean in Japanese, or what is it for? What is it from? Tsutsuji Rhododendron. Alright, that's a flower. Tsutsuji. So it doesn't have that rock thing. Brock is called Takeshi in Japanese. I've become very fond of the name Takeshi because it's the name of the first Kamen Rider. What other character have I seen as Takeshi? I don't remember. Yeah, because Ishi is like stone, so it's kind of there. Ishinomori, for example, can literally mean forest of rocks. You know, Shotaro Ishinomori. And they made a reference to that, I think, in movie War Ultimatum. Kamen Rider Wizard and Forces movie War Ultimatum, in which the theme song of the movie was called Forest of Rocks. Bam, 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 bam. Forest of Rocks. Do, 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 do. Had to pause the music there. Oh yeah, if I were to sing right now, I'm not sure if I could do a lot of that. Now, for sure, if I had scheduled a karaoke stream or anything, we would be changing the plans because I did get a little bit of cough. If it gets to us, if certain things happen with it, I'm probably gonna have to get a test for the Spanish Crown affliction. Alright, next is Broly, the fighting type gym leader, whose signature Pokemon is Hariyama, which is a Makuhita when you first face it. Makuhita, Hariyama, I like saying them with a Japanese pronunciation. Funny enough, their Japanese names are actually different from what I saw. but yeah. The evolution of Makuhita is Hariyama. Next time I play a Hoenn game, I think I'll have a Hariyama in my final party. That's super fun Pokemon, and so is Makuhita. Whismur, Loudred, Exploud, I think I might get one of those as well. And both Makuhita and Whismur are Pokemon you find early on, so I might be deciding my final party for the game quite early in the game. But anyway, next is Medicham. So again, I'm trying to stick mostly to Pokemon introduced in Generation 3. But if you do play the Hoenn games, you'll find there's Pokemon from Gen 1 and Gen 2 in there, because Unova was the first to do a Pokédex that didn't have past Pokemon in black and white, and so far it's the only one actually, because Kalos, Alola, Galar, Hisui, Paldea have a lot of Pokemon from past generations. I hope they do another Unova generation, in which the first series of games have a completely brand new Pokédex, in which there's only the Pokemon that were introduced in that generation. And yes, later do some sequels that have some returning Pokemon. I think that would be good. Especially with nowadays, the Pokemon that are obtainable in the game are limited. They limit the Pokemon that can actually be in the game. They've been doing that since Sword and Shield. I have mixed feelings about the whole thing. Mostly my negative feelings about that are from the way they revealed that back when Sword and Shield were new. And yes, oh whoops, didn't mean to do Mega Blaziken. Yes, he does have Blaziken. Blaziken, after all, becomes a fighting type. And I did give him a Machamp, which I guess he will have. There's a lot of people with a Machamp. Already we have, I think Bia has a Machamp, although this one Gigantamax is. So there's that difference maybe, but Gigantamax is a more temporary thing, even more temporary than Mega Evolution is. Bruno, who is now the Kanto fighting type gym leader, has a Machamp. Chalk has a Machamp. So this is the third time in a row we see Machamp. The next one... Yeah, the next one is Heracross, which we've also seen in a couple parties before in Johto. In Boxy's and Chuck's party, we had a Heracross, but sure, let's have it for Brawly right there. It's okay for Pokemon to repeat each other sometimes. One important thing that I want to mention is that this whole idea started from the Black 2 and White 2 tournament. Then the Mount Battle inspiration, the Gym Leader Castle, kinda came later, but I love what the Black 2, White 2 World Tournament did in returning all these past characters and giving them like a full party of like Pokemon in like their maximum potential, fully evolved and everything. And even like having like type expert parties from all over the world. Tournaments, type expert tournaments from all over the world. So you would be able to find in the water type expert tournament, you might find Misty, Crasher Wake, and who else? Who else is a water type gym leader? Cress from Unova, right? The problem is that you would never fight all 6 of their Pokemon in a single battle unless you were going for triple battles or rotation battles, which are an entirely different monster. If you want to have a single battle and you want to see all 6 of their Pokemon in the battle, you're out of luck. It's the same case in the Gym Leader Castle, although the Gym Leader Castle in the Stadium games takes more liberties, especially because they had a more limited pool of Pokemon back then, since it's Gen 1 and Gen 2. But yeah. And in the Kanto Gym Leaders Tournament, Johto Gym Leaders Tournament, Hoenn, you know, the Gym Leaders Tournaments that are based on the region, in the teams, they tried to stick... Actually, let me show you with Brawly, actually. He may be a good example for this. They tried to stick to Pokemon that belong to the region, that were discovered in the region, that were introduced in Generation 3, or, you know, something like that. So Brawly has Hariyama, Medicham, Breloom, and the other 3 were introduced before, but they can be found in Hoenn. But in the Type Expert World Leaders Tournament, they gave them a bigger pool, which means they do repeat a lot of those Pokemon with other leaders, but it still works out. So he has Scrafty, Mean Shao, which are Pokemon introduced in Gen 5. It's a similar case with the likes of Roxanne. Looking at her parties in Black 2 and White 2. The Hoenn Leaders Tournament sticks to Hoenn more. Oh, and as a matter of fact, I got her the exact same party for the party I gave her. These are the 6 Pokemon she got there. We'll take a look at them again later, so I'm not going to say them out loud like this. But then she gets a Caracosta for the Type Expert World Leaders Tournament. So that's an example of that. So yes, we just saved this image. Let's now go for Watson, the electric type gym leader. Oh yeah, and a thing I was doing last week, but I'm not doing this week, is to assign them... Wait a minute, where's Watson? You're telling me Watson is not here? That sucks. There's no... Oh, it's gotta be because Watson hasn't appeared in the Pokemon Masters EX games because they pull the assets from there, I think. Damn, that's weird. Could he be under a different name, maybe? Does he appear in Pokemon Masters EX? It would tell me right here. He doesn't appear in Pokemon Masters. No, he doesn't appear in Pokemon Masters. Let me Google that quickly. He hasn't appeared yet. Fascinating. I think he'll eventually appear because they want to have all the gym leaders from everywhere, even the player characters. Another reason why I'm putting them here. Something that kind of comes from Pokemon Masters EX to an extent. Oh, that is strange. Okay, I'm gonna have to use a placeholder for him, who is gonna be the same placeholder I use, which is this yellow gold outfit version of Ash Ketchum. It's gonna be between parentheses to imply that it's supposed to be Watson, but he's not here. Okay. That is unexpected, but that's alright. Let's see his first Pokemon. Yes. His signature Pokemon is Manectric, which is a Mega Manectric. So that's what we're gonna give him. And I am very tempted to maybe give him a Paldean variant of a Hoenn Pokemon. So, Plusle and both Minun. Both Plusle and Minun are in his party because this is a no-brainer. And they do the same to him, actually, in the World Tournament. For the Hoenn Leaders Tournament, he has both Plusle and Minun. But then for the Type Expert Tournament, he doesn't get both, but he has both, as you can see. Here, however, he replaces them with Rotom and Ampharos. Let's see here. I give him... So the other 3 Pokemon I gave him are Electrike, a non-Mega Manectric, and a Magnezone. But I want to change this because of what I said now. I don't think he should have an Electrike anymore. Somebody else has one. See, here's another thing. You may not even encounter his Manectric if you challenge him early in your journey because, again, this game idea has fully scalable gyms that scale to the number of batches you have. And if you face the Electric type gym as your first gym, Watson is probably gonna have an Electrike in his party instead of a Manectric, right? Something like that. So I'm gonna take a look at the Paldea Pokédex. At the new Paldean variants of some Pokemon and the Paradox Pokemon. I am looking for one that was introduced in Gen 3. But I think one way or another I am going to give Watson... okay, I have one. I have a Paradox Pokemon. I'm going to give it to him for now. But it's subject to change because Paradox Pokemon are still kind of treated like legendary Pokemon. So it's kind of difficult to say. It's kind of difficult to put it here. Okay, this is Iron Hands. So I moved away from the screen to prevent spoilers. You're still gonna see the spoilers because here is Iron Hands, as you can see. But I'm avoiding more spoilers by showing you the list I was looking at in another tab. The other 2 Pokemon he's gonna get, one of them is gonna be Magnezone, which is shared with several other gym leaders in both Kanto and Johto. Like the Steel and Electric type gym leaders there have a Magnezone I think all of them have one, but let's see what he gets here. He gets a Raichu, and I kinda don't want to give him a Raichu because it's a signature of Lieutenant Search. Doesn't mean he can't have one. We've seen a couple times in which signatures are repeated, or a signature appears in another leader's party or another person's party, but it's not their signature in that other person's party, but I still want to avoid that as much as possible. So this is gonna be Watson. Gotta name the files a specific way. I named them with the name of the type in parentheses first, and if this is from a named gym leader, a canon gym leader if you will, instead of like the new gym leaders I'm doing for this, or whoever I'm assigning to be a gym leader. For example, when we get to Unova, I'm going to make Colress the Steel type gym leader. But yeah, I have that name. But if it's a new character or somebody we don't know, I just have like the parentheses with the type and nothing more. Okay, background. Oh no, we're not changing that. We're going to Flannery now. As far as I know, there is a Flannery in Pokemon Master CX. I think I might need to drink some water. Might take a break. I'm actually getting famished. I should have eaten before the stream. Sorting out my times for eating is really messy. It's really complicated for me. Because I haven't had anything since breakfast, and I can't really eat during the stream, because then I would have like a 20-minute break or something. That's how it always feels to me. If I'm doing a 12-hour stream or something, yeah, it's understandable, but this is not meant to be that long. We're not gonna make it to that length. I can assure you that. So I actually gave her a Mega Camerupt here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna take a look at the Kalos parties and see if anybody had a Mega Camerupt. Okay, the ground type gym leader in Kalos has a Mega Camerupt. That doesn't mean that Flannery doesn't get one, but I think I'm not gonna make it Mega. Well, actually, let's see her party in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I think, oh, whoops, that is not what I should have shown. Sorry about that. I closed the wrong tab. So yeah, this is why like there may be more spoilers for Paldea. I apologize if there was anything spoilery there. Well, you didn't see much. She doesn't have a rematch in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. She has a new mill. She doesn't hit a Macargo. I actually made Torkoal. Well, yeah, Torkoal is her highest level here, so it's her signature. And yeah, the signature they give her in the World Tournament is Torkoal. If they do a remix of Black and White and they include the World Tournament, I can totally see... Well, if they bring it back, because for some unexplained reason they removed it, I can see some people using Mega Evolution there. Because we didn't have a chance to see a rematch with her using Mega Evolution or something. What does she have in Masters? Is there... do they use Mega Pokemon in Masters EX? Hey, do you remember when it first trended on Twitter? When Pokemon Master CX was known as Pokemon Master Sex? I'll never forget. The world will never forget, I think. Okay, well, yeah. I've never played Pokemon Master CX, and I looked for it in the Play Store, but it told me that my device is not compatible. Sadness, profound sadness. So... I don't know how it works in Master CX, but I see that they have like a one Pokemon deal with every character. I don't know what the gameplay is like. I think it's something that kind of depends on the gameplay. So I honestly don't know what it's about. Okay, I'm gonna give her a regular Camerupt. I am very tempted to give her a Mega Camerupt and a Camerupt, but we're not gonna do that. She's gonna have a regular one. This is subject to change. Then she gets a Blaziken. So this is shared with Brawly, and also May, because she gets Torchic. Much like the anime, but it's also because the counterpart in Pokemon Adventures, I think, gets Torchic. Or actually, no, I think this is one instance in which I didn't base it on Adventures. I based it on the anime. She gets a Macargo, which we've seen before. Already, Roxanne had one. Wait, did she get one? I've already forgotten. No, she didn't get one. I'm thinking of other gym leaders. Well, we've seen it in the Johto Fire-type gym leaders team, and I think the Rock-type gym leader. And now I must again take a look at the Paradox and Paldean variants of Pokemon to see if there's any that we're introducing Hoenn. So let me take a look at the Fire-type. Fire. No, this one is from another generation. Fire. No, there isn't any. So what we're gonna do is just give her Pokemon that she gets somewhere else. Let's see what we have. Fire Wiper. Good to see you, Em. It's a wiper for fire. Like it wipes an entire party. Is that what you meant to say? Or did I read it wrong? Fire Wiper. Or Wiper? Sorry if I said it wrong. That's the end of that playlist I was playing. Give me a second. There's another Hoenn Lo-Fi mix. This one is shorter. But we can continue from what we were listening to right there. Huh. Are there any songs in common with the last one? Well, whatever. Let's keep using this one. Regularly chant. Okay. Fire wiper, fire wiper, fire wiper. Is she from SB? What do you mean? But yeah, World Tournament. Yeah, Houndoom. I think you can find Houndours and Houndooms in Hoenn. Magmar, I think, is there in Hoenn. What were you asking? Sorry, I didn't understand the question. If you mean if I have played Scarlet and Violet, no. But I already have a lot of spoilers from it, which I don't regret getting because there's some really good plot twists that I think were great. But I don't think I'll be playing it anytime soon because my budget is very limited for these things right now. I'm just like, I have zero budget for video games and investments in content creation. Like, I want to save to get a Live 2D model, and that's something that I eventually want happening. And we'll have a full Live 2D debut. But I don't have any budget for those things, so Scarlet and Violet, just one of them, you don't even have to go for both of them, just one of them is very expensive. It's a first-party Nintendo game, it's gonna be at a full $70 price. It's not 60, I think, it's like $70 now. Oh my god, it's a lot. So yeah, she gets a Magmortar. As a matter of fact, let me see her rematch teams in... She gets a Rapidash. I don't want to give her a Magmortar because Magmortar is the signature Pokemon of a character in Sinnoh. Of the Fire-type expert in Sinnoh, Flint. Flint was his name, right? So I'm gonna give her a Houndoom and a Rapidash. Was Rapidash anybody's signature? Maybe it was. But she's gonna get... Sorry about that, more spoilers. She's gonna get Houndoom and Rapidash. They are Pokemon you can find in the Hoenn Pokédex, I think. So that's what she's gonna get. This is also one of the things that make this take longer. Yeah, a lot of her Pokemon... Well, actually, no. I was gonna say a lot of her Pokemon are slow, so it's good that she gets a Rapidash, but I would say half her party are, like, slow Pokemon. Torkoal and Camerupt are kind of tanky. Maybe Macargo, but the thing with Camerupt and Macargo is that they also have quadruple weakness against some types. Macargo and Camerupt have quadruple weakness against water. Macargo also has quadruple weakness against ground. But yeah, Blaziken, Rapidash, and Houndoom, especially Rapidash, are fast Pokemon. You have to remember, it's not just about like typings and everything. Especially if these are the parties that they use in competitive base play. Like the World Tournament, like the Gym Leader Castle, and a certain version of Mount Battle. So yeah, man, this is why... Literally the only reason why I thought it was a shame we never got Pokemon Stadium games for Generation 3 onward was because we missed the Gym Leader Castle experience. It's a lot of fun to fight the gym leaders like that. And well, we did get that in the World Tournament. We did get that. It's the exact same thing as the Gym Leader Castle, only you don't quite decide the order. You don't challenge all the gym leaders in a certain order. You kind of depend on which ones appear in the tournament you selected. You only fight 3 out of 8 of them for the regional tournament. But it's just like the Gym Leader Castle, because if you go for single battles, it's only 3 of their Pokemon, and you only choose 3 of your Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, I love that format. They also use this in the anime and maybe in the Adventures manga. By the way, I started reading the Adventures manga. I got as far as reading all of Volume 1. I don't remember if I read anything of Volume 2, but it's still early in the journey of Red. Blue was there. There's a lot of changes from the original story. I didn't know there were that many changes. I remember reading this years ago, but maybe I misremember because almost none of this seems familiar to me. And it's weird. I don't remember the story starting out like this. Like the way Red starts his journey, he's not this trainer. Well, I think he's from Pallet Town, but he doesn't start like at his house, saying goodbye to mom, and then getting escorted out of the tall grass by Professor Oak, and then choosing his starter with Blue. No, it happens differently. In case of spoiler, I'm not gonna say how it happens, but it's extremely different. Like they meet in completely different circumstances, and yeah, it's kind of weird. The same with Blue and Red. They don't know each other until they meet. And it's implied that they grew up together in the original games. They grew up together and Blue already knew Red. Or well, whatever you want to call the rival. If you want to call him Gary, he already knew the protagonist with the red cap, the player character. If you choose male, at least. Although you have no choice but to be male if you're in Generation 1, but I digress. Would have been great if they had introduced the female player character in Generation 1. I think it was time constraints that forced them to take her out. But it was gonna be the one we saw in Pokemon Adventures and Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, in which she dressed with like this black dress of sorts and even implied that she had a different personality. Her personality in the Let's Go Pikachu Eevee games is mostly taken from the Pokemon Adventures manga, from what I hear. And I'll tell you this, I have yet to go to the part in which she gets introduced in Pokemon Adventures because we actually haven't seen her yet. Hey, every time I hit the download button, I have to close the tab, open it, close it, because sometimes it doesn't load the newer one. I wonder if I could maybe save it without hitting the download button, maybe? Just right-clicking it immediately on the screen. Let me take a look at that, actually. Let me see if there's a difference from that. If it looks like it's a lesser quality. It looks just as good. I'm going to stop going to that screen and I'm just going to save image as right here. Mostly you want to go for that screen if you're going to share it without downloading it. Yes, save. Like you share on Twitter, you add to a stream, which is interesting. Oh, and also they give you a URL to edit it later, which I'm not doing. I can just start from scratch. It doesn't take that longer to just do everything. All right. Let me see here. How long is left on this playlist? I'm gonna take a little break right here. Well, actually, I'm gonna show the Twitch clips on the break screen. Gonna take a little break here. Need to take a snack, maybe drink some water. Continue drinking plenty of fluids and all that. As always, everyone, stay connected to the multidimensional portal. I'll be back. Ah, the crown of the multiverse. Oh, yes, this is better for me. Oh, yes. Yes, now we can play Civilization 5. Now we can lead the Spanish Empire to victory. Yes. All right, let's do this. A peach pie! He's like giving that to me as a birthday present. Are you kidding me? Oh, wow. Just when I thought it couldn't get better, eh? Wow. Dun 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 dun. We're gonna need to craft that recipe. Well, wow. Expectations exceeded today on the birthday. Fantastic. I gotta craft that. I gotta craft that now. No, I didn't have cake. I'm going to have pie. Thanks to you, you absolute maniac. I love you.
Outstanding, sir.
Thank you very much. Of course it's outstanding. I am an outstanding individual. It reflects in everything I touch, in everything I do.
No Jedi will be able to stand against.
Did you see that? Oh, I have to clip that. Oh man, I can't clip that. I can't do that right now. Did you see how they died? All right, now we're at the end game. Oh my glory. Oh, that was so good. I can't clip that. I'm playing. I can't. Where are we? We are hold on, 43 minutes into the stream. I'm gonna try to remember that for the VOD, and I can maybe clip it there. What is that guy doing? Just walking there briskly. No, like they used the... Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Instead of buffing everyone up individually, everyone gets buffed immediately. And there you go, the killing blow. Ah, that's what I'm talking about. Hold on. I'm actually just going to wait for the cooldown so I can do that at once. Just killing all the scavengers like that. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? You know I love my AoE skills like that. Oh no! No! Ah, yes! Beautiful victory royale! That was so close. VICTORY 3, 2, 1, settle, never give up. Oh yeah! 次元の扉を運命を世界に鋼のビートを刻め夜明けを信じて最高銀河のかける戦士の証勇気のエンブレム Plateau. Keep going until you see the knights. The training grounds aren't far from there. That is all. You'll take the mission then? Did you see that in the background? Did you see that, like, that gigantic tree thing walking in the background? I think that was a player pet or something. Did you see that thing? Hey, that I can't commit to subscriptions like that right now. Like, yeah, I could have a month and then just cancel it, but I hate doing that. Especially because it's gonna be a rabbit hole for me, and then after that month, I'm just gonna be... I wanna play this game, but I can't play it anymore. I'd rather not play it in the first place, and just avoid that. No, give me my game back. No. I'd rather just avoid that, you know? It's the blasted rabbit hole. And yes, we sent some cards. Lightsworn Judgment. If this card sent from the last month, you can add one Judgment Dragon from your deck to your hand. Ah! Yes, so that answers my question. Well. Let's summon this bad boy here. I think we have everything we need to win the duel very soon. If not this turn. Lightsworn Saber. Oh, nice. When this card is sent from your deck to a graveyard, you can target one Lightsworn monster you control, equip this card to that target. Now we're doing some good combos. Oh, hell yes. Let's go. Let's go. 60, but let's try 49. Yes, we got it. I didn't expect to get it. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. I have to choose which one. A beehive chip. A pair of brats. Nah, I'm good. Okay, so we're gonna go for a treasure hunt. Oh, nice, Barry. Nice, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, 6 minutes. Give me my shovel. Gotta run. I don't have time to talk to anyone. Is this it? Yes! Okay, treasure found! Oh, whoops. Hold on, let me pick this up. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. You love to see it. This is the second time this has happened to me, in which the treasure is literally right there. Right there. Ah, that's so funny. That is so funny. But it happens. It can happen. Doo-doo. Hello, Raymond? Big brains to play 2 Civ games at once and alternate? Oh no, Beijran, you may be joking, but that's something I want to do someday. I actually want to do that someday, you know? I'll have to make one of those windowed, but I could do that. And you know, I have... Actually, hold on. Big brain. Actually, I have 3 monitors. So one day, I want to play 3 different Civilization games. Civilization 4, 5, and 6. And I want to see what that's like. Big brain, eh? Oh, yes, that would be the best thing ever. The best. No, seriously, I would like to try that someday. I haven't even tried playing 2 at once, though. And we only aggroed 1 bear. That's funny. I thought both of them were going to come after me. All right. Let's go for this next one. Bear versus bear. You're just gonna have to bear with me for a moment as I load. Omatase shimashita. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for that, telling me to take my time. Yes, I did took a little bit of time there. Just a little bit of a snack, and because I'm sick right now, I kind of eat things slower. I don't have any appetite. So it's like... It's always a chore for me to eat things, but when you have appetite... Welcome back, thank you. When, you know, I like... hey, happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate it, because I want to mention pie. I can eat any pie any day. Or, well, I can eat a pie any day because I love it, right? But if you don't have appetite, it's a chore. It's a tedious task to do. Especially if the reason is because you've been sick. My breakfast today, I had a couple sandwiches. I must have taken like 30-40 minutes to eat them. Because, it was like, no. It doesn't disgust me. I'm not at the point where food makes me vomit. It's not like that. It's just, like, I don't want to bother with this, but it's necessary. And all that. Now, back to what we were doing here. We're almost finished with the initial gym leaders, which are 8. Now, because we have 18 gym leaders, it's only now that I'm realizing we end up adding 10 gyms to every region. Oh yeah, I didn't say this. Sometimes I say something and I don't finish saying it, like I start a sentence or a train of thought and I don't finish. I was saying earlier that something I did last week that I'm not doing this week is assigning them places in the region with a map. Because at this point we start reaching into territory that I haven't played that much. I have played the Hoenn games, but it's been a while since that, and I didn't play them as much as the Kanto and Johto games. Not out of choice, mind you. It's not that I prefer the Kanto and Johto games over anything else. I haven't played any games for any regions after Hoenn. None. Not Sinnoh, not Unova, not Hisui, not Kalos, not Galar, not Alola, not Paldea. So I would be even less familiarized with them. That being said, I could look at the map and sort of assign them, but I didn't have time for that either. Otherwise, I would like to put like the information like in one of these 2 options here of what where their gym is located. For example, Petalburg Gym, Norman, or Petalburg City. Because we can't call them we can't say something like Petalburg Gym because we also have now some cities that have multiple gyms. For example, Saffron City would have a fighting and a psychic type gym in Kanto. And we can't say the Saffron City gym because which one are you referring to? There's now 2 gyms in there. So anyway, next is Winona. I'm gonna try to pick up the pace here a little bit. Let's see if we can finish all the 18 gym leaders by the top of the hour or so. Her signature Pokemon is the mighty Altaria, which is not a Mega Altaria right here. I'm gonna keep it like this. Is there an icon of Winona? There she is. Possible that the only Hoenn gym leader they haven't done in Master CX yet is Watson, which is interesting. How long has Master CX been out? I don't know. But yeah, Altaria, primary dragon type. I want to have it. Oh yeah, and I have it in one of my parties. So one thing I haven't been doing is doing trainer cards for me, for myself, for the party that I would use to challenge these gym leaders in a hypothetical gym leader castle or mount battle. There's three parties I would do it with. One is a party with all the 3 starters of Hoenn and 3 other Pokemon, and one without any starters, but still Pokemon that were introduced in Gen 3, if we can help it. And the third party is one that is used for every region, which is Pokemon from every region, mostly my favorites. Haven't fully decided what that part is gonna be, but you know, probably Starmie, Gourgeist, maybe Incineroar. Well, it's also about having type variety. Otherwise, I could just go for a Ghost Monotype party. Ghost Psychic Dual Monotype or something. Because Ghost is my favorite, Psychic is my second favorite. Though sometimes it fights a lot with that top spot against Ghost. But I guess Ghost keeps winning because it's super effective against Psychic. Anyway, for example, the starter party that I would have for Hoenn is Sceptile, Blaziken, Swampert, and the other 3 Pokemon are Mega Sableye, Gardevoir, and Altaria. It figures into one of the parties. The other non-starter party is Aggron, or is it Aggron? Salamence, Claydol, Mega Banette, Ludicolo, and the last Pokemon is either Manectric or Exploud. Notice how each and every one of those Pokemon is a different type. No types get repeated, ideally. And there's always at least there's always one Ghost type and one Psychic type in each of those parties because of my favorites. Yeah, that's how it is. And as a matter of fact, I actually am going to do this. Well, depends on what Pokemon Showdown does after they've settled like all their Pokemon from all the game modes from Scarlet and Violet. You know, all the meta like game modes after Scarlet and Violet, after Generation 9 got introduced. But what I was planning to do was to build these teams in an account called the Gym Leader Castle, which I would challenge myself. I tried looking, I searched high and low, I searched everywhere to look for an AI for Pokemon Showdown that would be able to use a team I gave it, but sadly there isn't anything like that. So I would actually just play both of those sides. It's like playing chess with yourself, playing both black and white, but trying to do the best decisions, and it's kind of fun anyway. I want to do that, because I did do this years ago, I just didn't go very far with it. Okay, I actually need to take a look at the Paldea thingy, the Paradox Pokemon, all of that. To see, because the final Pokemon is up for debate here. Flying for Winona, flying. Perhaps a Paradox or a Paldean form from a Pokemon that got introduced in Gen 3. Flying, no. Flying. Okay, there's nothing. So, this is based on the teams she gets in rematches, the World Tournament, and stuff like that. Let's see what she gets. The Pokemon Emerald rematches, for example. The 4th rematch onwards. Okay, I can give her a Skarmory, a Noctowl, Dragonite. She gets a freaking Dragonite. I think I'm gonna give her a Skarmory. The Hoenn Leaders Tournament, yeah, she gets a Skarmory. I love Skarmory's cry. Although, well, I'm thinking more of the classic cry that it got before they did those changes to the Pokemon cries in Gen 6, I think. But some of them were preserved to be very similar to the originals. Oops, sorry. Again, opening the spoilers. At the end of the day, I like to think they are manner spoilers because they're only Pokédex spoilers, but I still want to avoid it. Okay, let's give her Skarmory then. And yes, now we're just gonna right-click to save image. Flying Winona. Let me just make sure it saved it correctly. Perfect. Yes, that's exactly what I needed it to be. By any chance, could they be a different resolution? No, they're all the same resolution, alright. Because it will be important for the little gallery we're gonna get through at the end of the stream. Oh yeah, some of these songs we already heard in the other lo-fi mix for Hoenn. But hey, nothing wrong with listening to them again. Okay, this time the trainer... Alright, let me see. The thing about the next one is that I'm gonna have it be both Tate and Lisa, and I can only have one of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name it like this. Just using Lisa as the representative, but it's meant to be both of them. You would actually face both of them, probably in a double battle in the actual gym, but it's also possible that they have their own separate parties. And in that case, Lunatone would go to only one of them, Solrock to only one of them. But in this case, there's double signature Pokemon here. You know what? I think I do want to give them separate parties here. Tell you what, let's do Lisa first. And I do need to see what she gets for this. I'm gonna do individual parties, but no, you know what? No. This is gonna take more time, so I'm just gonna do it. No, I'm gonna do only one party. And maybe later we can do more, but to save more time today, I'm gonna make it be both of them. So both Lunatone and Solrock will be here. It's a unique situation in which they allow the gym leader to be 2 people. It wouldn't be seen in any of the other games. Because I'm thinking that for the Sootopolis, or rather the Hoenn Water-type gym in Sootopolis City, we could make it so that it's both Hoenn and Wallace as the gym leader. And maybe depending on which day of the week you go to, or some other condition that is like doable in the constraints of the game, it depends on which one you meet, but I'm not gonna do that. I actually thought, since we're doing the champion rank thing, that what we could do is to make Wallace a champion rank trainer, and the gym leader for... Oh no, wait, actually, yeah, assign Hoenn as the gym leader for Sootopolis, for the water-type gym. Or no, wait, I didn't. No, I have both Wallace and Hoenn next, actually. But... well, yeah, I'm gonna have Hoenn be the gym leader, and then Wallace you would encounter later in the game, perhaps in the tournament, but he would be stated to already be a champion rank trainer. But the defending champion, or the champion that is there for you to defeat to become champion ranked, is always Steven. We continue to have it be Steven. Steven Stone. Himeko, and the last Pokemon I have here is Gardevoir, and to keep things simple, I'm gonna make it be Gardevoir. I was reconsidering Gardevoir because it's found in other people's parties, especially Wally's. So Wally's signature Pokemon actually ended up becoming Galate, thanks to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but... he also has a Gardevoir, if I recall correctly. Okay, well, switching to Wallace. Let's do Wallace first. I think he's no longer the gym leader in the Sootopolis water-type gym, but he would still appear, and this would be his party. Still keeping to the water monotype, because in most Pokemon regions, there's no shortage of water-type Pokemon. Like, hey, you know, the ocean is vast, covers the entire world. Okay, let me look for more music here. These songs I may lower the volume even more because we're gonna have a dual mix soundtrack for the Hoenn games from Shiba Mashups, which is also what we've been using for other streams. But yeah, like, they are able to represent many Pokemon from like many water Pokemon from Hoenn, or rather Generation 3, without repeating any. There are a few that come from previous generations, but still. Milotic is gonna be the signature of Wallace, and I'm gonna give him a Mega Sharpedo because he's now a champion rank, so he's gotta get something elite like that. On the other hand, Sydney, the Dark-type gym leader, previously an Elite Four member, is gonna have a regular Sharpedo, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a Mega Sharpedo now because of this. Okay, Walrein. Oh, my bad. I already did that. Oh, yes. Ludicolo. The first thing that comes to mind every time I see Ludicolo is Mirror B from Colosseum and XD. It was recently the anniversary of Pokemon Colosseum, actually. And I was like 19 years, because it's been 19 years. 2003 is when it released. 19 years of the greatest of all time, Mirror B. Alright, this is Wallace's water monotype party. Oh no, wait, we're not doing this screen anymore. I'm gonna make him be his own trainer, so I'm not gonna put water... I'm not gonna put him as the water gym leader in the file names. But now Hoenn. Is there... Hoenn is not in the Master CX game, sadly. Yeah, I guess it's also been 19 years of Ruby Sapphire. Ah, yeah, it also released in 2002, but the actual release date was, I think, much earlier this year. Still, though, that's really cool. I like that one of the big reasons why they did Colosseum and XD was literally just so people could complete the national Pokédex in the Hoenn and Kanto games. Mostly a lot of Generation 2 introduced Pokemon were not seen in those games. And it's such a 180 from how they approach things now. They're like, national Pokédex? Screw that. We're gonna limit the Pokemon you can have. Anyway, the signature Pokemon of Hoenn is actually gonna be Whiscash. He gets a different signature Pokemon added for him in the World Tournament, but he shares that with somebody else because it's Kingdra. And it's also Claire's signature Pokemon. Sorry about that. Open that tab again. And so I want to give him Whiscash. You know, he has that like mustache. So why not? If you look at it with the way Hoenn looks, there's that. National Pokédex be like Pokemon every region? Yes. It's every Pokemon that's ever been in existence in all the games. Yeah, Whiscash for a mustache. Okay, let's do Gorbis, Huntail, and Gorbis. Excuse me. I am getting that sickness. I need to take it more easy on my voice right now. So let me know if the music gets louder than me as I speak in a more downscaled voice, in lack of a better word. In a more chill voice, if you will, which I need to get used to doing anyway. More ASMR-like, if you will. Alright, this is the party of the actual Water type gym leader, which is Hoenn. Wallace now remains a champion rank trainer, which again, as I said, the other trainers that you meet, which are based on the player characters, rivals, etc., also achieve. Brendan, May, Emerald, based on the Adventures character of the same name, and Wally, all of them achieve champion rank. So that's 4. With Wallace, they are 5. And well, Steven is a champion rank, but he's different in that he is the one that's the defending champion. The others choose not to be a defending champion. In that way. Alright, that wraps up the gym leaders. Now the Elite Four members who are now gym leaders. So, the Dark type gym leader Sydney, let's see if there's something for him. I get the feeling... Okay. I get the feeling there wasn't anything, but there is. So that's good. So all Dark type Pokemon. Yeah, he's gonna get a Crawdaunt actually, so I'm gonna leave that there. His signature Pokemon is Absol, of course. And we should probably give him a Mega Absol. That's what he's gonna get. If I return to making them Elite Four members, I'm going to actually alter their bodies so that they don't have a monotype situation. Just ever slightly. I'll probably still give them something like 3 Dark-type Pokemon or something. Like, this is not actually based on his parties in the game. Like, if you look at Emerald, Ruby Sapphire, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, well, actually, no, I digress. I stand corrected. Mightyena he does have. Thought he didn't have a Mightyena. Yeah, because especially in Kanto and Johto, they would have Elite Four members that didn't stick to their supposed type specialty. Sinnoh did that to an extent. And then from the Unova games onward, they made a good job of making them all stick to the originals. He has a Zoroark. That's interesting. I like that. But yeah, he does get a Mega Absol. But we're gonna try to stick to... sorry about that. We're gonna try to stick to the Generation 3 Pokemon. So he's gonna get Shiftry. Then we have Crawdon, Sharpedo. No, wait, Cacturn. He should also have. And then Sharpedo. And this one is not Mega, unlike Wallace's Sharpedo. Because you can only really evolve one of your Pokemon into Mega form. And depending on the rules, you may only have that one evolutionary stone in that Pokemon. Because if you can only evolve one, then you don't want to give Mega Stones to another Pokemon and waste that held item. Just because you're like, oh, you know, I might evolve that Pokemon in another battle, but no. So yeah, Sydney. Next is my waifu, my kindred spirit. Not as much as the Hex Maniac though. Phoebe. Because she's a ghost type specialist. And I actually have thought that her gym would probably be close to Mount Pyre. Because she's from there basically, and her grandmother resides there. She trains there. So I'll give her this. Okay. So her signature Pokemon is Dusknoir. So not Dusclops because she goes for the full evolution, even if it was introduced after Gen 3. Dusknoir. Next is Banette, which is not a Mega Banette because the one she Mega evolves is going to be Sableye. There's no Mega Evolution for Dusknoir, otherwise her signature Pokemon will probably get that. Shedinja. And then the next two Pokemon are gonna be not introduced in Gen 3. So actually I need to take a look again at the Pokédex. Let me see what they've got. Ghost types. Based on a Pokemon introduced in Gen 3. Let's see. Ghost. My favorite type. Ghost. Not you. Ghost. Ghosto. Let's go. Kakugo. Go. Ghosto. Go. No, there aren't any to introduce here. So it's a matter of taking a look at her parties in the games. So that's how we'll do it with Phoebe. Listen to that great music. Well, yeah, she has 2 Dusclops, 2 Bannettes. Now, we want to go for potentially the rematches, where she doesn't repeat the Pokemon as much. Let's see Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So they assigned her... She gets a Miss Magius, I could give her that. Chandelure and Driftblim I want to avoid because... they're also there in like other generations teams. Chantal has Chandelure as his signature, I believe. And Chandelure is present even beyond Gen 5 in some teams. Driftblim. Miss Magius is the signature of Fantina in the next gen. In Sinnoh. Or is it Fantina? I keep pronouncing her name in different ways. She's another kindred spirit because her ghost type... she has a ghost type specialty. And I like love their style. This like... this very tropical sort of style to her clothing. I like it. I approve of it. Dragon Ghost Jimen Hikodoku Moshi Misu Denki Iwakusa Akukori Nomaru Honno Kakuto Hagane Espa Fairy. What is that? Where is that from? Is that from Kamen Rider Ghost? If it is, I don't know. I don't know, sorry. But like, I look at other people at the Hex Maniac and Fantina, and they're like, wow, yeah. Fantina has like sort of magician style that she has. I love it. And well, the Hex Maniac is 100% my type. The Spiral Eyes come from her. Pokemon XY OP1 Volt. Oh, I didn't know that. Fascinating. So what am I gonna give her? So I did mention her whole tropical style. Believe it or not, I want to give her a Lowland Marowak because of this. There's a lot of like that. She implies that she does that kind of ghost type training, like tribal dancing of a type, traditional dancing associated with certain cultures, like the ones seen in Alola, Polynesian cultures, dancing with like fire, something on fire, a fire stick, or I'm sorry if I'm not getting the word right. But something like that, where they dance like it. Marowak always gives me that impression, and I think you see that in the Alola games. You see Marowak kind of like dancing with the fire bone there, just flipping it around in front of them. That's what I mean, and that's what I picture Phoebe doing sometimes. It's about being connected to the spirits in a very Mother Earth sort of way, if you will. Oh, you learn types from that. Nice. That's a good Pokemon song. The other one I'm going to give her... I think Miss Magius and Misdreavus can be found in Hoenn. Well, let me take a look at that. In the Hoenn games. No, they can't. No, you can't find them. Although Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire changed that, but it's a hidden Pokemon. If anybody's gonna have hidden Pokemon, though, it's gonna be her. But let me take a look at Drifloon. Or maybe even Drifblim. Soaring in the sky. Wow. Oh. Use of the Eon Flute and summoning Latios or Latias. You would think an Elite 4 level trainer like her has other options, so that's probably how she does it. She doesn't use Latios or Latias or something like that, right? Wow, yeah, because I've yet to play Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. One day, maybe. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna give her Miss Magius. Though I hate to repeat the type. I hate to repeat this Pokemon because it's a signature of somebody else. Like, Morty also has a Miss Magius, but... Because, you know, Misdreavus is introduced in Gen 2, but it's the signature in Fantina. Well, this is gonna be her party. Subject to change on that last Pokemon, Miss Magius. Perhaps a Drifblim instead. It's not the end of the world if we repeat that. It's okay. There are only so many Pokemon. Even at this stage, I mean, there's over 1,000 Pokemon now. Thanks to, as of Scarlet and Violet, we have exceeded the 1,000 mark. And now let's do Glacia, the Ice-type expert of Hoenn. Now the Ice-type gym leader in this new scenario. Yes, she's gonna have a Mega Glalie. And I did give her both a regular Glalie and a Mega Glalie, which I'm probably not going to do. She's just gonna have the Mega Glalie. I am also having this clause now to not repeat a species, only under extremely unique circumstances. Well, variants, regional variants, I don't count as the same species entirely, so there's that loophole. Because in terms of the games, I noticed this in Pokemon Showdown, they tend to consider them the same species. In Pokemon Showdown, there are a lot of modes in which there's the same species clause in which you may only have one Pokemon of the species. So they consider regional variants the exact same, even if the typing is different, the appearance is different, all of that. And so if you want to have Golem and Alolan Golem in the party, you won't be able to do that unless you go for like anything goes or something like that as a game mode. Okay, we are in trouble because there's only 3 ice types. The other Pokemon I've gave her are Glalie, Abomasnow, and Beartic. And for Abomasnow and Beartic, I made a note saying consider underrepresented ice type from another region. And I wouldn't know which ones they are right now. And you know what, I'm not gonna look into that right now because it would make the stream take a lot longer than I would want to. So let's just base it on what she has in the games. Yes. It's pretty much the same here. Yeah, she gets a couple Frostlass. So the thing about Glalie and Frostlass is that they are both an evolution of Snorunt. But Glalie was only introduced in Generation 3. Frostlass was introduced in Gen 4. And it's only a female Snorunt. But the point we're focusing on here is that they only got introduced in Gen 4. Nevertheless, though, it still fits, still works with her. Let's see what she has in the rematch right here. Yeah, I gave her Beartic, Aboma Snow, and even... I didn't give her Vanillux, but... I'm just gonna keep it simple to know... Oh, wait! Let me check the Paldea Pokédex to see if there's any Ice type based on Gen 3 introduced Pokémon that we can maybe use. So give me a second. Ice, Ice... Ice, Ice, baby. Ooh. There's a trainer battle. Ice, 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 Ice. Based on a Gen 3 Pokemon. I don't see any. I see 1 or 2, but they're based on Pokemon introduced in other regions. There aren't any. So we're gonna keep it simple with her. She's just gonna have Pokemon from other regions. That's all fine. Aboma Snow. Or well, some of these are found in the Pokédex of Hoenn. Especially Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, because we're going for a future gen, but I want to stick mostly to the local, not the local Pokédex, sorry, the Pokemon introduced in that generation, but it still works out. So, that's her party here. We'll take a full look at it later. For Glacia. Next is Drake. The Dragon type specialist, now gym leader of Hoenn. Let's see, there must be a Drake in Master CX. Yeah. His signature Pokemon is Salamence, which is gonna be Mega Salamence. He absolutely gets that. Mega Salamence looks amazing. Looks like a fucking airplane. Pardon my language. But, looks like a freaking airplane. It looks so cool. Did anybody get a Mega Altaria? I think not, but we may see a Mega Altaria in the Kalos League. Flygon. And, okay. This is where it gets different. I gave him another Salamence, a Dragalge, and a Dragonite, but we gotta do it differently. So once again, I'm gonna take a look at the Paldea Dex. Dragon. Yes, there is a Pokemon that we are going to give him. There is a Paradox Pokemon of Salamence, his signature. Roaring Moon. The past Paradox version of Salamence. So that's it right there. That's it right there. Sorry for the lag. By the way, I think I may have solved the problem that I was having about the lag that I was getting on my computer here and there. And it's like the moment I realized this, a lot of things came back to me because I know this is not the first time it's happened. You know what happened? Recently, I changed my wallpapers to be from a static wallpaper, which was... Before I had a static wallpaper for each monitor, but they were still static, so they never had a little change. I changed it to be a slideshow on a certain folder. It was fun because I was using my own thumbnails as the pictures for the wallpaper because they fit as a wallpaper very well. And I was using the textless version of those thumbnails. If you want to get those, support me on Patreon and you'll get them as a benefit. But yeah, the problem is that every time it switches to another wallpaper, which was every 10 minutes, the whole computer slows down for a moment. So as fun as it is to see myself all over the place in all sorts of scenarios, in all sorts of backgrounds, for the wallpaper, I had to remove that. So I went back to a static wallpaper, and to be certain, I made it be the exact same wallpaper for all my 3 monitors. You know, Thanksgiving and all that. I don't celebrate it. I'm not even in a location that celebrates it, but if there's anything I give thanks to, is the fact that I still have 3 monitors, you know. Only one of them is what I would call a gaming/streaming monitor, a nice high-end monitor. It was a decent price, actually. It wasn't that expensive for the quality that I got, which is a fantastic quality. I forget the name, but it's a Dell monitor that can be flipped vertically and high quality of picture. It's my central monitor. I used to have it as my non-central monitor vertically. And eventually when I get the money, I want to get myself another one of those, another one of these. Or just one that's like, maybe not the exact copy, but one that's like it a lot, that I can flip vertically. Because I always want to have a vertical monitor. But yeah, it's the only one that I could call like high-end, quote-unquote, because my other two monitors, one of them is a monitor that is literally square in dimensions. It's a square monitor, given to me years ago by some relatives, which I'm very grateful for. But it still works. The screen looks very pixelated, actually. I end up having to use day mode in many things because anything that's dark is difficult to see on the screen. You want to have it as white as possible on the screen to be able to see it. So, for example, TweetDeck, that is usually the thing I see the most in that monitor, I have in day mode. Whenever I'm scheduling the posts for the Kamen Rider Daily account, I switch Twitter to day mode because I'm doing them on that monitor, and if it's on dark mode, there's a lot I can't see on the screen because it just gets heavily pixelated. So it's a very scuffed monitor, but it still works so well. It's a little scuffy, but it works. So, you know, not to worry, we're still flying half a ship. Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, it's even more than half a ship, I would say. It's very fine. And my other monitor, the one in which I have OBS right now on my right, is a TV screen. It's a TV screen that's like, I don't know how many inches, 32 inches or something. So, you know, I kind of have to look far if I want to look at some things in it because like it's so big that I have to really crane my head a lot, as you can see here, to see some things. I make sure to always have the chat for the stream on the left of the monitor because that's the part I see the most because it's on my right. So the first thing I see is the leftmost elements on that monitor. And yeah, that's why I do it like that. What was I going to say? Oh, give me a second. Gotta check something quickly. Ah, the crown of the multiverse. Oh, yes, this is better for me. Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. Usually when I show those Twitch clips on the break screen, I try to pause the music, but that was just for a moment. I hope it was okay. But anyway, yeah, I digress. I am grateful that all three of the monitors are still working because I would not have money for any more. And I could work with two monitors, but it would be very limited. And with one monitor, it's like, ugh, that would be painful. I would try to manage somehow, but there would be a lot that is very difficult to take care of, especially OBS. Like, any less than two monitors is like less than ideal for streaming. You want one for your streaming software, one for your game, because a lot of the time you're playing games. We're not playing a video game right now, but well, we are using something else on this screen, which is what we're doing for this browser window. So let me take a look at Drake's parties on the Hoenn League. On Emerald, Ruby Sapphire Emerald, let's see his rematch parties. He gets Shelgon, it's a non-fully evolved Pokemon, so I want to avoid it. Kingdra is shared with Hoenn, and Claire for that matter. And maybe even the Dragon-type gym leader in Kanto, so I want to avoid that. Here he gets a Dragalch and a Haxorus, which I don't want to give him. But a Dragonite doesn't quite seem right either. This is difficult. I don't want to give him a Kingdra. Because it's too repetitive to do so. But I'm okay with giving him a Dragalch. Although it might be the signature of a Pokemon in... When was this introduced? Kalos or... Let me take a look at that. Generation 6 or... What was that? Let me see here. Generation 6. So I would have to take a look at the Kalos parties. Drasna, the Dragon-type expert, has one. The Poison-type expert has Dragalch as their signature. But we can still have it. Sure, I'm gonna give him a Dragalch. But that still leaves one Pokemon, and I don't want it to be Haxorus because it's the signature of Iris. And for that matter, Drayden in Unova. And they're not the only ones that have Haxorus so far, so I want to avoid repeating it too much. Dragonite is not that accessible in Hoenn though. And it is the signature of the Dragon type expert in Kanto and of Lance. Bam, 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 bam. Drake's Dragonite, Lance's Dragonite, Darius's Dragonite, Ash's Dragonite. My gosh. Game locations is what I was looking for, though. Let me see. Oh, yeah, we probably should take a look at Dratini for this. So let me see. You would have to trade for it in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Yes, it's not really achievable. This is difficult to decide. What about an underrepresented Dragon type? Dragon types are not that many, so I don't think there is such a thing as an underrepresented Dragon type anywhere. They're unobtainable. Oh no, wait. Let me see. Axew in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. They are there as a hidden Pokemon in Granite Cave. So despite my hesitation, I'm gonna give him a Haxorus. And the thing we're gonna do to make the signature Pokemon stand out from the Pokemon that other people use that are also the signatures is that we're gonna have whoever has it as their signature Pokemon have the best possible stats and movesets for them and held items, probably. So whatever is given to the Haxorus of Drake is not as good as the Haxorus of Iris, for example. Well, we'll talk more about Iris and Drayden and the like when we get to Unova. And I think we're gonna get to Unova on my birthday week. Hey, by the way, my birthday, December 10. I've been so sick lately and swamped with so many things to do, you know, on top of being sick, so I haven't been able to really plan or announce anything big, but I'm hoping to start working on an announcement for a subathon or a major event for December 10. That's gonna be on Twitch, of course, if it's a subathon, but if I keep doing these on Thursday, because I want to keep doing them on Thursdays now, and have Saturdays be the Japanese learning stream, except for that birthday, which is a Saturday, I probably will have Unova done on December 8th, provided we do Sinnoh next week as normal. But yeah, that's right, Em. Save your money. Don't spend anything on Black Friday. Save your money for me. Give it to me as my present. Yes. Just kidding, just kidding. Okay. Next, I actually made a party for Steven. But no. So Steven is now the champion with a multi-type party that includes like 3 rock Pokemon, 3 steel Pokemon, and 1 ground Pokemon. It's not 7 Pokemon, one of them is both steel and rock. But that's why we can say he has 3 steel types, 3 rock types, and 1 ground type. And it's still 6 Pokemon. We will get to him after we do all the type gym leaders. You know what I actually considered doing? I considered introducing a 19th gym and maybe a 20th gym, and the 19th gym would be a gym without a type specialty, but that would be kind of weird. That would kind of take away from everything else, like the tournament where you encounter potentially a lot of trainers that don't have a type specialty, the champion who doesn't have a type specialty necessarily, the player characters and rival who are now NPCs that you encounter a lot as your fellow rivals, as now all of them are your rival in the journey, in a way. It would take away from that, but it would be fun, right? There's a gym for every type and a gym of no type. But then what would the 20th gym be, right? I just wanted to round up the number. Anyway, Steel. This is not Steven Stone because he must remain as champion. So I am going to use, since he has 6 different avatars, I'm going to use a placeholder for him. Using one of his sickness suits, I would say. Using this one because he has like the colors of steel. It's probably representing one of his Pokemon if it's a sickness suit. The sickness suits are outfits in Pokemon Master CX that trainers wear to represent a Pokemon. It's kind of like a Pokemon cosplay that you see sometimes on an NPC, like a Pokemaniac or a Pokefan in the games. Like dressing up with a Pikachu hoodie or something like that. But this one is done less like cosplay And more like it's the colors and maybe some elements in the outfit, but it still looks like an outfit of its own. They are really cool looking suits on all the trainers that have them. So since this is not Steven Stone, the signature Pokemon here is a Mega Aggron. Because the signature of Steven is Metagross, and we're gonna make it be a Mega Shiny Metagross. Why a Shiny? Because this is based on the anime. The anime, as seen recently in the Journeys, actually, they gave him a Shiny Metagross, which is cool. Why not? Especially because we get Metagross repeated in a lot of parties. Maybe I could make it so that the signature Pokemon is Shiny for everybody, if that signature Pokemon is also found on other people's parties, but it's kind of a cheap way to go about it. That's why I don't do it. For example, Misty's signature is Starmie, and you see Starmie sometimes in other parties, but that doesn't mean hers has to be a signature. And I got to admit, maybe I'm biased towards regular Starmie as opposed to shiny Starmie, because regular Starmie is a purple star, you know. You look at me and you look at my everything and you'll know I favor something like a purple star as opposed to a different colored star. I don't remember what color the shiny is, but it's definitely not purple. I think it's a light blue, a teal, cyan of sorts. Anyway, that being said, this one does have a Metagross, but it's not shiny and it's not Mega. Well, we gotta have Metagross on this party. Mawile is also here, not Mega either. That's probably gonna go for the Fairy-type Gym Leader here. A Skarmory, which is shared with Winona, I guess, but there's no helping it. And I gave them Magnezone and Klefki. And I put some notes detailing the reasons why, and I'll tell you why right now. Magnezone, you can find Magnemite across Hoenn, and as a matter of fact, this was also reflected in Watson's party, canonically, because it's also based on a party that he has in some games, by him also having Magnezone. The other Pokemon differs a little bit more because it's Klefki, a Pokemon introduced in Gen 6. This represents the fact that the Hoenn games were also, there were also Hoenn games in Gen 6, but Klefki can be found as a hidden Pokemon in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And we've already done stuff like that for some of the other Pokemon, as we saw in the other gym leaders. So it checks out, it checks out. These are not run-of-the-mill trainers. Even if they're not Elite Four anymore, some of them, they are gym leaders in this alternate scenario. Even then, as I said before, this is not a demotion for the Elite Four that became gym leaders. It's a promotion for all the gym leaders, implying that gym leaders are an Elite Four level. This is why, to qualify for the tournament, you only need 8 badges. And if you get all 18 badges, that is a major achievement that is equivalent to winning the tournament. And you can already challenge the champion by just having all the type badges of the region. Sinrix, you remember back during the summer you ended up getting the Sigma suits for the Kanto trainers being red, blue, green. But seeing this is interesting. Oh, that sounds so much fun. I'm so glad you pulled that off. So you had the 3 protagonists, if you will. Or the 3 Pokédex holders, right? From Kanto. Yeah. We gave them a nice party in the Kanto stream, which you can find in the VOD if you didn't see it. Maybe I should give timestamps to that, actually, but I approached that one differently, because we didn't do like a summary at the end. But anyway, I may later do this in video form, as I said, or post a gallery of trainer cards somewhere. Did I save this already? Steel... No, I didn't save it. Let me save it now. Alright, so now we move on to the other types that didn't have a gym leader before, and now they have one. But yeah, I've yet to play Pokemon Master CX. It's gonna be until I get a new cell phone that has that compatibility, because yeah, I don't have the money for a new phone right now. Mine works well enough, but the sooner I can get a new one, the better, because I'm also having a storage space issue. There's a lot of applications that don't transfer to the SD card, and a lot of applications that you don't even want in the SD card if you can help it anyway, just to be on the safe side in case it takes longer to load some things because it's external. But it limits what you can do, because you only have like, well, I only have like 16 gigabytes of internal memory, so there's only so many applications I can have. I've reached the limit of which apps I can uninstall. I uninstalled Pokemon Go, actually. I'm gonna have to contend with not having it anymore. I was looking forward to doing a daily walk of sorts. I should still do it though, it's for my health. But doing it with Pokemon Go, you know? but I had to uninstall it. I had some issues with some banking applications, and they are of extreme importance because it's you know, it's banking, it's banks. You want to have that. You want to have no issues with the programs for that. They tend to favor apps instead of their actual websites for some reason, so I gotta rely on that. So I had to give them priority in that way. But the point is, it will take me until I get a new phone. I mean, it's also because the Play Store, the Android system, I don't know what it is, they never let you install any applications directly on the SD card. Some of them, yes, I moved them later into the SD card, but they always have to be installed first internally. And it's always a pain in the ass to update an application or to install a new one. It's always a huge pain to do it. So the sooner I can get a new phone, the better. Pokemon Go was not performing that well either, so I would be better off with Pokemon Go in a new one. It would get very slow at times. The AR mode was kind of scuffed. Like, the position of the Pokemon in AR mode was not where it was supposed to be. I remember catching, I think it was an Alolan Rattata, and I could just see, like, the top of its head on the screen in the lower part. And other Pokemon, I could still see them fully on the screen, but they were not positioned correctly, which made catching them more difficult. But even then, I mean, when I get a new phone and all that, I don't think I'm gonna use AR mode that much, because sometimes, let's say I'm in a mall or a department store, and while I'm browsing, I try to play Pokemon Go as well. That's what I did last time anyway. And this is the bug type gym, by the way. I love the theme of Slateport City. This is Slateport City. It's one of my favorite themes from the Hoenn games. For some reason, the thing I remember the most about Slateport City is just running all over it. Running down, running up after arriving at the beach south of Slateport City, which has a lot of trainers challenging you. A lot of swimmers, tubers. No. I mean, tubers, not like YouTubers or VTubers. I mean, what are they called? Yeah, because they're wearing this kiddie tube. They are young children in tubes that are learning to swim, and they're called tubers, but it's so funny looking at this word now in retrospect, because it's now associated with YouTube, content creators in YouTube, and virtual tubers, right? Like VTubers, YouTubers. Or maybe what you're saying there, like Metro Underground Train. But no, it's not like that. It's because of the inner tubes for children. Well, not just children, really, but usually associated with children that are learning to swim. But yeah, funny little thing, right? When words change meaning. You know, I remember years ago, and it's been years now, think about that. I read a sci-fi story in which they were using the word meme, but it was something entirely different than what it means right now. I think it was, if I recall correctly, the premise was that people were able to infuse themselves, their minds, and kind of like some things in the Matrix in which they infuse themselves. Tubers actually much more nice than toddlers. They're not, well, for me, toddlers is somebody who is at the very most like 3-5 years old. They look older to me than that, like 7 years old, maybe 6. Well, they gotta be younger than the supposed 10 years old age of the player character, I think, though that varies. Sometimes it's 11, sometimes it's even 15, something like that. But what was I gonna say? Shoot, I was gonna say something else. What was I talking about? Tubers. I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I was saying something else, but whatever. We gotta pick up the pacing here anyway. So, let's go for the fairy. Oh yeah, this is still the placeholder. For the fairy type, gym leader of Hoenn. Unlike previous regions, especially Kanto, and no, Unova is the one that barely has any, but there's quite a few fairy-type Pokemon found in Hoenn. Some introduced in that generation, some not so much. Wait a minute, Mega Altaria. I have Altaria listed here. Give me a second here. You're telling me Mega Altaria becomes... Oh, so Mega Altaria actually becomes Fairy type, losing the Flying type. Okay, then it's a good thing that I didn't give... Did I give Winona a Mega Altaria? Because if I did, that was her signature Pokemon. Let me check my trainer cards here. I gave her a regular Altaria, right? Yeah, because if you Mega Evolve it, it loses the Flying typing, so she shouldn't have it. Alright. So, the signature Pokemon here, I think is actually gonna be Mawile. Which is not gonna be Mega, actually, but I'm gonna make it be Mawile. Then we have Gardevoir. Not Mega Gardevoir either. Somebody else might have that? I don't know. Azumarill, which is also in the Johto Fairy-type Gym Leader, I think, but it still checks out to have it here. Yes, Mega Altaria. Only by being Mega can it become Fairy-type, but Mega Evolution is not something that can be prevented. And it's not something temporary, in the sense that Gigantamax, and maybe Terastalizing, again, I still don't know the full details of that because it's still very recent, but not to the extent that they're temporary. Because once a Pokemon Mega evolves, they remain in that Mega Evolved form until they faint or the battle ends. The only caveat to this applies to Pokemon Showdown if I want to make this be a monotype mode party. Like a party in one of the monotype modes. Which I probably don't anyway, because some of these teams that I give these gym leaders have a lot of take a lot of liberties, especially now with limited Pokédexes in Gen 8 and Gen 9. They take a lot of liberties that you wouldn't get in the regular mode, so I usually have to go for a National Dex mode of sorts, an anything goes mode maybe. So yeah, it has to be like that. I actually haven't seen them do a National Dex anything goes, so I'd have to do either National Dex OU or Ubers, if there is one, which still limits me. Like, I still wouldn't be able to do some things, and that would suck. Because I wouldn't be able to do the little Gym Leader Castle / Mount Battle Challenge and Showdown that I wanted to do, and there's nowhere else where I can do this. But yeah, they have a Wigglytuff, and they have a Sylveon, because you can get Eevee and Hoenn, why not? Wigglytuff, Sylveon, they check out in their own way. The ban list is being updated, seems daily now. Now, right now it's also a shaky period because Scarlet and Violet, which also happen to be new generation games, have just come out. So, yeah, it's also gonna take time before they have anything set in stone, so to speak, for this, but I did take a look. I started to get into this Pokemon obsession again. Like a month or so before Scarlet and Violet came out. It had nothing to do with Scarlet and Violet, actually. I don't remember what triggered it, but I went back to Pokemon like this. It's not the first time in my life I get obsessed with it in this way. But it's one of the definitive experiences this time, I feel. Like, I hyper-focus on something like this, and then after a while, I lose interest, but I think Pokemon is here to stay for a little bit longer, maybe, than previous times I've hyper-focused on Pokemon, but the problem is that month or so before Scarlet and Violet came out, even then, they didn't have a National Dex Anything Goes. And Anything Goes is the mode I need them to have, because there's some things that are prevented from what I do, and they don't have it right now. There's only... What are the limitations? Hold on. Let me just have a team. What are the restrictions in National Dex? Where can I see the rules for this? This is just a throwaway tab, by the way. I don't have any teams on this. I usually play this on Chrome. Maybe I'll have to change that for a future stream, but... where do I see the rules for it? Let me go to the website. Because if I just stick to the Gen 9 or Gen 8 modes, there will be a lot of Pokemon on these teams that I won't be able to use. And Gen 7 It's now 2 generations past, unfortunately, so they may not even have that. There is a place where I may be able to do this, and I'll show you in a moment. So what is the limitation in National Dex? No description for this format yet. Also because it's new. Let me see Sword and Shield though. Species clause. Okay, I can work with that. Well, actually, I would prefer to have Alolan forms also present in some teams. But otherwise, I can work with that. Yeah, there are some Pokemon in here, like Cinderace, that would suck to leave out. Well, to be fair, at least with Cinderace, I would just stick to the Gen 8 modes for all the gym leaders there, I guess. I hate having to do it like this, though. Now, for any game modes that are not around anymore in Pokemon Showdown, there's this fantastic website called rom.psim.us. You face in here mostly a bot called the Abyssal Bot that has... The purpose of this room is to have a bot to be able to play a lot of the formats that are not in active rotation anymore. Oh, you saw some of the new Paradox Mons span, which is weird. I've been saying when I've been building these teams, Sinrix, that from what I've seen also, without going into major spoilers, I have seen gameplay of Scarlet and Violet, and Paradox Pokemon seem to be on a similar level to legendary Pokemon. So it would make sense for them to reach an Uber sort of level in terms of competitive play. Legendary and mythical Pokemon are often there, right? You already been Scarlet? Okay, but for other people. And well, you would know that. Or maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but they seem to be on a sort of level to legendary Pokemon. I could go into details as to why, but again, want to prevent spoilers for other people potentially. But here, as you can see, they have a ton of other game modes. So I could just face myself here. I think you can actually challenge other people here. I never tried to do that, but I could just do the Gym Leader Castle here and challenge it here, or do my own private server. If I feel froggy and I feel like I can pull off a stream in which I have you come and challenge me using all of those Gym Leader teams, we can do that. And I play the Gym Leader team trying to take the best decisions. I am the host of the Gym Leader Castle, if you will. They are tough as well as having a Pokemon that changes its base stat totals just by switching out? Huh, I don't know what that is. Is that what Terastallizing is? I don't know. Because I haven't actually played the games, but... Tell you what. No, well, actually, no. I was thinking of having a battle here against the bot, but we're not even finished with the gym leaders yet. I don't want the stream to go on too long. Terastallizing is changing the type overall. Okay. Let me take a look at... Oh, yeah, like... Now that Gen 7 is 2 gens past, it's been lost. If you want to have a Gen 7 anything goes, it's not here. There's a Gen 8 anything goes. But even though it's anything goes, I mean... It says anything goes, but it's still limited. Well, actually, let me see. Gen 7... Okay, so it's still here, so I can still challenge a player to this game mode. Let me take a look at like a random person in a chat room. I'm not gonna actually... Oh. I think I need to register a username. Hold on, I'm just gonna have a throwaway name. So yeah, okay, it works out then. We can still have a Gen 7 anything goes challenge. That's probably what I would use for many of these teams, but... Yeah, this is why I was saying that Monotype would not be the one we use for this. Let's log out of this throwaway name. Just reconnect without the name, thank you. I probably should configure this to show notifications. Okay, I'm gonna reset the permission. In case that in future Pokemon Showdown streams, I do it in Opera instead of Chrome, because that's what I'm using right now. Since Chrome eats up a lot of RAM and I had a really bad situation, which was actually in a subathon on Twitch, in which things went seriously alright in the middle of the stream because of that, and I found out that it was probably that, thanks to the help of a friend on the stream. So now we're in the Grass-type gym of Hoenn. Tropius is gonna be the signature Pokemon. Or powers up the same type attack bonus if it's one it already has. Yes, Terastallizing. As a matter of fact, I feel like with some of these I should maybe offer to put a Pokemon that's not the type of the gym leader, but give it a terastallizing of the type. I think when you terastallize with a type that the Pokemon isn't, ultimately it's not as optimal as doing it with a type that the Pokemon already is because of what Thinrick said right there, right? The same type attack bonus. But it's still an option, from what I understand. And it's kind of cool when you do it. What I want to do eventually, for example, with Tyranitar. Let's take Tyranitar as an example. What is unique about Tyranitar and other Pokemon like it? It's a rock dark type, but its previous two evolutionary stages are not dark, they are rock ground. So imagine you terastallize Tyranitar to be ground type, to be sort of going back to those two pre-evolutions, right? I think you also have, which one was it? There was another one, Drapion. I think Scorpy, and I don't remember if there was another one. They were bug poison, or no, they were poison bug, I think, and then Drapion becomes poison dark. Still looks buggy, so to speak, but it loses the bug typing. So imagine giving a terastallized bug type. I don't know if Drapion is even available in Scarlet and Violet, but yeah. As long as Gen 7 Anything Goes is still available, so I have an Anything Goes with a national dex, it still works out. I just may have to modify a few of the teams in case they have Pokemon after Gen 7, because there's actually a few here and there, or I do them in a different format. For example, Roxy, which we're gonna see when we do Unova, she gets a Toxtricity, because there weren't enough fully evolved Poison-type Pokemon in the Unova, the Gen 5 introduced Pokemon. There were like 4 maybe that she used, which is still a good deal. Unova was fantastic in Black and White because all the new Pokemon gave such amazing representation to every type. For most of the types, you were able to have a party of 6 fully evolved Pokemon sticking to the monotype. And they're all Pokemon that were introduced in Gen 5. And that is a lot of fun, especially when you do an experiment like the one I'm doing right now, right? That's a common thing in some of the gyms, not going too much into spoilers, of course. There you go. There you go. But it's a thing. It's a thing. Alright, let's pick up the pace. This is also why I take long because, hey, you know, we take a pause from the main activity to talk about other things. Some of them are related, like what we were talking about right now, but some are not. Like, hey, I'm talking about giving thanks to having 3 monitors still and all that. Still works out. And yeah, these are all Pokemon introduced in Gen 3, so it works out. Let's go. Many of these are repeated with other gym leaders and type experts. Every single one of the Pokemon here is present in another gym leader's party, actually. Tropius, I'm pretty sure, is on Winona's team. Cacturne and Shiftry are with Sydney. Breloom is with Brawley. Ludicolo is with, I believe, Wallace. Cradley is with Roxanne. But hey, it works out. Maybe I should get a shiny Tropius, or the entire party's shiny, why not? I'm not gonna go that far. But it's gonna be the most optimal Tropius we can possibly have. You know, I say that to an extent these teams are based on competitive based play, like what you have in the World Tournament and what you have in the Gym Leader Castle. But they're also not meant to be like the top of the meta. Like, they're supposed to be a fun experience, like if you face them as NPCs. Even in the World Tournament in Black 2 and White 2, many gym leaders, at least in the regional tournament, would have a team that has Pokemon that are not that good competitively. Like, you may find them in underused or never used, those lower tier metas or something, right? Let's take a look at an example here, maybe Watson. They changed that for that reason in the World Leaders Tournament, so that they have Pokemon that are more viable competitively. I think that was their aim. So he has Manectric, Electra, blah blah blah. Plusle and Minun may not be the best Pokemons in terms of... the best Pokemon, sorry. The plural of Pokemon is Pokemon. May not be the best Pokemon in terms of stats. Ah, now he gets Rotom, which is the... it's not regular Rotom either. This is the water-type Rotom. What does it possess when it does that? Wash Rotom, it's called, when it possesses a washing machine. Yes. And Ampharos. Yeah. Because it's maybe more viable competitively. So it would be more about the experience of seeing a team really representing every type from every region. Unless we're going for the full game. in which you may face the gym leaders at different tiers, depending on which order you do them in. This is based in great part from the fan game Pokemon Crystal Clear, which I've been playing, by the way. I have finished the Elite Four and the Champion, and I beat all the gyms. So I'm now on the stage of completing the Pokédex. But what I wanted to showcase about that fan game is that it modifies Crystal so that it's a fully open world Pokemon game across both Kanto and Johto, and all the 16 gyms from those regions, which are both part of the Indigo League, which is different than the way we're doing things, because here we made so that Kanto and Johto do have their own leagues, separate from each other. But 16 gyms there in the league, across the two leagues, and the gyms scale to the badges you have, as well as the trainers outside the gyms, but they don't scale as harshly, if you will. They don't scale as much as the trainers inside the gyms, and of course the gym leaders. But the thing about it is that when you reach certain amounts of badges, it goes all the way up to the 70s in terms of levels for the gym leaders and even the gym trainers, which is fun. And it makes sense if you're going as far as 16 badges. And imagine, in these games, as far as 18 badges. So it would be the same thing, I think. The gyms would scale all the way towards the 70s, probably. But at the same time, the first gym would also have very low-level Pokemon. Like, you may not even find any Pokemon beyond level 9 or level 10. I remember it was like this. I think I challenged Blaine first, because I wanted to do a reverse Kanto and then a reverse Johto gym order. But Giovanni is not there, it's instead Blue. And I wanted to challenge Blue later, because to have Blue as the first gym before he gets all 6 Pokemon in his party feels weird, so I made it be Blaine as the first gym leader. And I think he had a Magpie and maybe a Ponyta, and they were less than level 10, if I recall correctly, and that's it. Hey, here's the gym music. Here's the gym music. I think we may hear the gym leader theme soon. But it's based immensely on that, and so the gyms would scale very far this time. And it's another reason why the right to challenge the champion also comes from gathering all the 18 badges. It would be implied that barely anybody goes that far. What they usually do is they maybe gather 8 badges and compete in the main tournament of the conference every season. Because this is another thing, there's seasons. There's seasons which are, well, weather seasons. So it's 4 seasons a year, based on the weather. So currently it would be the fall season, which is about to end, potentially. At least based on the Northern Hemisphere seasons, and the winter season would begin after. Or maybe it would be based on something else, like maybe the quarters of the year. Which means that we're in the final season of this year, let's say. And December would see the culmination of this season with the conference, which includes a Little Cup tournament, a main tournament, the one where the trainers with 8 badges go into. And if they win that, they have a right to challenge the champion, who is also defending with a champion challenge on that conference. So, there are championship challenges that happen. I said this earlier on the stream, but just to say it again, I know it's a long stream, I know it's a long video so far. It's been 2.5 hours, but, well, rounded up 2.5 hours. There's the gym leader music, by the way. If you win the Little Cup tournament, first of all, you don't need 8 badges to qualify for that. And if you win that, it doesn't give you the right to challenge the champion. Championship challenges can happen anytime, for anybody that qualified. You do need to notify the league and everything, but they can happen. If they happen at a point in which they're not doing the conference, in a stadium, in front of a big audience and all that, the championship challenge is gonna be like in every game that is not Sword and Shield, I guess. And maybe Scarlet and Violet, I don't know how they do the champion battle there. But you know, it happens in its own private room within the Pokemon League. If I decide to stay with an Elite Four, then they also are there. And the point is, Elite Four or not, happens in that room, but it gets recorded and broadcast when it happens. Even if it's an impromptu live stream, because it's a challenge that doesn't get scheduled, or it gets scheduled with very little notice. Like the Nintendo Direct, right? They always announce Nintendo Directs like 2 days before, and it's not like it's a small deal, you know? Those are big deals, what they do in the Directs, most of the time. Maybe they announce a challenge, hey, Brandon has challenged Steven. This is off. This is not yet the time for the season finale, so it will be in its own room. But they make a waiting room on YouTube, let's say, immediately then, and they can and everybody can tune into that, or they just broadcast it without any prelude before, or maybe it doesn't even get broadcast live. They record it and then they stream it. Not going too much within spoilers. Champion is like a tier of trainers, and the main champion is the strongest of those champion level trainers. Yes, so I have said this in a minor spoiler, but something they have in there, I've been saying this for what we're doing here, is what the champion rank is. And that's, I believe, what you're referring to right here. Okay, you know what? This is where we get Mega Counterupt. The ground type gym leader is gonna have a Mega Counterupt, and Flannery will not. There you go. Because Mega Swampert goes to somebody else. Whiscash is also here. But yeah, you know, one thing I would have is that champion rank would be a thing too. I don't know if the champion would be the strongest of those level trainers, but rather the one who chooses to be the defending one. Doing the having a lot of duties and responsibilities that the others who didn't choose to be defending champion, representing the league, don't have. But you also, if we want to go deeper into the lore, this is mostly lore stuff that you may not even notice during the gameplay. It's something you see in dialogue maybe, on this dream game. Like they kind of explored it in the Journeys anime. Also that. Only here is not a world champion, which I think is what they did there. Major spoilers for what happened in the last episode, nearly 2 weeks ago. They didn't have an episode last week, but they're gonna have an episode this week with also something big involving Gary. But oh boy, they finally did it. But I'm not gonna say what it is. Champion rank. Whoever chooses to be the defending champion, as long as they qualify, of course, they gotta be a champion, they gotta beat the defending champion if there is one. They get paid a government salary, if you will, by the Pokemon League, because the Pokemon League is sponsored by the government, you might say, in this wonderful Pokemon world. And the caveat, though, is that they get many duties and responsibilities as representatives of the Pokemon League. You know, for some reason, the first thing I think about is... For some reason, VTubers is something that I came to think about. Like, an independent VTuber, as opposed to a corporate VTuber. Like, an independent VTuber... Pokemon government, yeah. A good government, though. A good government, that's the implication. I mean, healthcare is free, or at least for Pokemon. So, that's the sign of a good government. But let's not go too deeply into this, please. We're gonna get seriously sidetracked here. But VTubers who are corporate get a lot more restrictions than an independent VTuber, for the most part. But at the same time, they get a lot of benefits guaranteed to them that independent VTubers will not get. So it's a sort of similar, you know, what you prioritize, what it is that you want as the Pokemon champion or as a VTuber. Like, if the pros beat the cons to you as an independent, remain independent and never apply to any companies, right? The same for the Pokemon champion. Even if you have the qualifications because you beat the champion and you achieve the champion rank, if the cons beat the pros for being a defending champion, then do not become that representative. So you wouldn't be paid a wage by the Pokemon League, maybe, like the champion is, but you also wouldn't get a lot of responsibilities as the champion. I think I would make it so that, in this case, it's just like Galar, in which the defending champion is known, and they do a lot of events with people. They are spokesperson, spokespeople, representatives of the league in a way, you know. But that doesn't mean there aren't others who achieve that rank. So yes, this means that you could have a champion lose, and then they remain the champion because the other ones didn't choose to remain champions. Wallace, for example, right here in the Hoenn League, would... I assign Ninkada to this gym leader, but I think I want to give it another one. No, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take a look at the Hoenn Pokédex. The thing about Ninkada is that it's a non-fully evolved Pokemon. Because Ninjask loses the ground typing, but I don't want to have a non-fully evolved Pokemon anymore. So I'm just gonna take a look at the Hoenn Pokédex and see the other options. Let's use Generation 6. Let's see the ground types. Swampert. Golem, I don't want to use. It's already in Roxanne's party, and it's in other generations' parties. Sandslash is a similar issue, but I think I'm going to lean towards Sandslash. Dawnfan could be a good one, but it's already there in other places. As we saw last week, it was there in Johto. And I think I'm doing... I haven't mentioned this yet on this video, on this stream, but the legendaries and mythicals are out of the question for these teams. They could maybe be in a special challenge mode. So Groudon is out of the question. And I saw you mention Great Tusk right there, Sinrix. Great Tusk is already there in the Johto party because of the Donphan Generation 2 origin. Great Tusk and also the other one that I will not say the name of. Firstly, because I forgot the name, and second, because we want to keep the spoilers to a minimum, right? So there's like triple Donphan in a way in the Johto ground type party. So we're gonna make this good old Sandslash. I like this Pokemon, I like it a lot. A lot of people end up having a Sandslash in like the games that have one, especially the Kanto games, because you can find a Sandshrew early on, I think in Mount Moon, and they are able to learn Cut. So you may keep them permanently because they have that, and it's a very helpful thing. Ground types are very helpful to have. I feel like ground types are the most underrepresented type out of all the types. You know why? Because mostly because I've seen that some generations barely introduce any. For example, take a look at the trivia here. Generation 1 introduced the most ground type Pokemon of any generation with 14, and Generation 6 introduced the fewest with 2. And you want to know who those 2 ground types are? One of them is Diggersby, the evolution to Bunnelby. I hope I said it right, maybe it's Diggersby, but I think it's Diggersby, which is a normal ground type. And the other ground type is a legendary. So yeah, the ground type Sinnoh gym leader, no, sorry, Kalos gym leader, that's gonna be funny when we get to it, but the other ground type is Zygarde, a legendary. And well, 3 different forms, but it's still only 1 Pokemon, so it's actually only 2 Pokemon introduced in a generation. That's barely anything. So yeah, ground type could use some more love, I think. It's never nice when a type gets neglected in a generation. I mean, think about Gen 1 with the Ghost type and Dragon type. That sucks. That's why the party we made for Agatha, for the Dragon type trainer who is not Lance, in Kanto was very funky. Which I think I might change now. Yeah, I said I would change it last week because of some new ideas I had. I think I gave her 3 Gengar. So that one of them is Gigantamax, one of them is Mega, one of them is nothing. Like, one of them has no extra form, it's just a regular Gengar, if you will. One of them is Gigantamax, one of them is Mega, but this is a stretch, really. And she also has Ghastly and Hunter, which is to have an entire evolutionary line. Especially now with my new policy to avoid non-fully evolved Pokemon now. Especially because the other trainers in the gym will probably have those other non-fully evolved Pokemon. Even in later tiers, even if you challenge them with 17 batches or after 18 batches. See, here's what I want to do for the game, if I can do it. This is why I've been interested in maybe learning programming or coding. Besides the potential job opportunities, I've heard there's some really good job opportunities for learning coding, but it's not an easy thing. But I want to do it because I want to see if I can have a ROM hack or a more advanced RPG Maker game that allows this, in which it's programmed like the Crystal Clear game I mentioned that has scalability based on your batches. But what I would do is it would start at 0 batches. So the first tier, let's call them, is at 0 batches. And the final tier then would mean that it's at 17 batches. But what happens... Or no, wait. How is it? It's... No, there's a tier for after you earn 18 batches, which is a rematch tier, I guess you could call. Which is just for the purposes of rematching them. But the thing that Crystal Clear has is not only that they scale, but If you fight, let's say you fight the fire type gym first, or no, let's say you fight the bug type gym as your last gym under Boxy, which means that you didn't see the other lower tiers. You didn't see the zero badge tier, for example. You can choose, after you've beaten the gym for the first time, to re-challenge any of the tiers. So yes, you can go with a fully overpowered party of all level 70 plus Pokemon and challenge a tier that has Pokemon in level 10 or beneath, or below. It may be good for training lower level Pokemon, actually. But, and that's the thing with Crystal Clear. It actually makes you train at the gyms a lot. And that's a great thing, because they're gyms, you know? You're supposed to train on them. I want to do that in this dream game, that gyms are also known as places where trainers train. Even if they're not the trainer that specializes in that type, though most of them are. Another thing that I haven't even mentioned today, I think I did mention this in the previous stream for Johto, is that you wouldn't have the gym unlocked at first. There would be some requirements, but you only need one of them. There's several options for you to unlock, quote-unquote, the gym. I'm thinking that the gyms are going to change structure a little bit. There would be this front desk area, kind of like the Pokemon League. Everybody would be able to enter there, but there would be a door that leads into the actual gym, which is the where you have like the whole puzzle, the trainers, the gym leader. You can't gain entry there unless you fulfill requirements. So for most of the gyms, it only needs one of these requirements. There's a special reward if you do all of them, but it's like a super extra thing. Like the reward is maybe you get 10 rare candies if you do all of them, but the moment you do any of these, you immediately gain access, and you can challenge the gym leader and all the trainers before. Every gym leader would have at least 4 trainers before the gym leader, no matter what tier it is. Though some of them would be avoidable, I think. The options would be, in no particular order, number 1, obtain X amount of type Pokemon. Let's use an example. Let's use the rock type gym of Roxanne. You have to obtain a certain amount of rock type Pokemon. And I use the word obtain here because it's not just catching. It can be evolving it. It can be traded, if there's such a feature in that game. It can be, what else? What other way would there be? No, I think those are all the ways, right? Because they don't necessarily have to be active in your boxes. Like, if you get Geodude, you evolve it into Graveler and then Golem, that already counts as 3 Pokemon registered on you, that you had those Pokemon, right? It's gonna be registered in some record. When you register for the Gym Challenge, or rather for the Pokemon League, you gotta register for some things that they would have, right? Trade, gift, oh yeah, a gift as well, that might be another thing. Capture, devolved. No, and even if you can trade with other people, there are probably NPCs that trade Pokemon, so that would be another one. So I don't want to say the word catch for this reason. The second requirement would be, well, this depends on how well this can be implemented into the game, but it would be based on combat power, which mostly comes from Pokemon Go, but it's also been present in Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. I don't know if they have it after that. You can maybe confirm that for me, Sinrix. Combat power, which is like all the stats summed up or something, a number based on all the stats together. Not sure if they had that in Gen 8 or 9. I know it's a thing introduced with Pokemon Go, or I think it is. So you have to train X amount of Rock-type Pokemon up to a certain combat power, which would be less than the Pokemon you need to obtain. So let's say 15 Rock-type Pokemon. And if it's the second requirement, then it's only 5. Because, you know, training is more of a grind, right? And you wouldn't be able to train at the gym either. Not because you haven't unlocked it yet. The third requirement would be, in-game, it would be called Gym Leader's Special Recommendation. So the gym leader puts you on this, like, sort of special list. They tell the receptionist or whoever is responsible for it, or the computer or whatever, hey, this trainer called Brendan has proved themselves in a particular way to me that I think they deserve entry into the Rosboro gym, into my Rock-type gym in Rosboro. So, if they come here, no matter if they haven't fulfilled any of the other requirements, they can come in and challenge. So, the reason why it's called like this in-game is because what it actually would be, in terms of gameplay, is a quest. Every gym leader would have their own unique quest that plays a part in their storyline, or the storyline of the city or area where they are, or even the region in general. if the villainous teams are involved in this, kind of like the gym test, yeah, actually. What was it that had that? Was it the Galar games? Alola has the trials, so it's similar to that. But some of them would not be a straight trial. It's more like something that happens to involve the gym leader, and the gym leader comes across you while you're like... For example, let's say for Olivine City. We had 2 gyms there, actually. We had Galar in Gen 9, okay. But it can also be like the trials in Gen 7 for Alola. But yeah, and the Orange Islands for that matter. They wouldn't necessarily be something that the gym leader does to make trainers prove themselves. Or maybe I can make this be yet another thing as option number 4. No, this would be, for example, in Olivine City, a questline that you had in the original games, and as a matter of fact, you couldn't challenge the Steel-type gym of Jasmine until you did this, was to cure Amphi, the Ampharos that lit the lighthouse, by feeding it a berry, or I forget what it was. It would be something like that. Amphi would be sick, but the gyms would still be open. And either the medicine... Okay. Either the Steel-type gym or the Electric-type gym, only one of them, I think in this case, would only open... Would have their gym leader be involved in it. And the moment you go and cure Amphi, the gym leader appears in a cutscene, and they're like, "Oh, you cured Amphi already. I was just about to do that. Well, you're a very nice person. Thank you for curing Ampharos. This Pokemon is a friend of everyone in Olivine City, and they light up the lighthouse. They play a very important role for the port of Olivine City. So, if you want to challenge my gym, I'm going to give you a special recommendation because I think you're a great trainer." And the cutscene ends, or something like that. And then when you go into the gym, you're gonna be there as a trainer, specially shortlisted, you might say, specially selected by the gym leader. So it's not nepotism. Like if the gym leader has family or something, they don't apply. It's gotta be somebody who qualified. For example, Norman is gonna have a child, either Brendan or May. I'm thinking I want to make it May, based on the anime. In Pokemon Adventures, it's actually Brendan, or rather Ruby as he gets called there. But I would have Brendan be the grandson, or I think son of Professor Birch, and maybe the daughter of Norman, but that doesn't gain her entry into the normal type gym. She's got to prove herself in the other ways. So those would be the ways it's done. There may be more options, but just fulfilling any of those 3 options, obtaining X amount of Pokemon of the type of the gym, training X amount of the Pokemon of the type of the gym to a certain combat power. Levels, not necessarily. It's about combat power, right? And doing a quest that would earn you favor with the gym leader would probably be something like that. As a matter of fact, for Roxanne, the quest involving her would probably involve the school that she has, because she has a Pokemon school as well, right? Nurse should be like, well, it's my job. Yeah. Well, the Pokemon Center nurse, she's not called Nurse Joy in the games, I think, but she's too busy. She has to stay in the Pokemon Center with Chansey. So somebody else had to go and cure Amphi. Anyway. And that gains you entry. Because you either have to be a trainer that the gym leader thinks is worthy in their own assessment, you know, they think they're powerful, they think they're kind, or both of those things, or there's something about them that impressed the gym leader, or you have to prove that you're willing to specialize in the type to an extent. Because these places, as I said, also need to be the place where trainers of that type go to train. On a poison type gym, you're gonna find people who want to specialize in the poison type and want to take it seriously enough to train at a gym. So these places would also become the hub for the... There's this thing that I called... Oh yes, there is actually another option. Option number 4, I'll tell you in a moment, to unlock the gym. There is a concept that I want to introduce in the games called the guild, the type guilds. There's 18 type guilds in every region. And the first one you join, you can be part of multiple. But all of them will have requirements to join similar to the gym, but not the same, obviously. Otherwise, it would be counterproductive. Like, you unlock the gym and you also unlock the guild, which is also... Option number 4 would be to be part of the type guild. So, to be in the poison type gym, you're part of the poison type guild. I initially conceived this as being like the trainer class. So, for example, as a ghost specialist, you would be a hex maniac. But the trainer classes don't necessarily reflect the types. And there's not really a trainer class for every type. So it's best to just call it a type guild or a type club. And they are the ones that they would also have their own special quests and everything. But you can't just get in. You have to fulfill certain requirements, except for the first one that you choose to join. The first one, you will be able to enter for fully free. You don't have to do anything. It's the first one you have chosen to be part of. And if your starter Pokemon does not match the type of the guild you choose to join, they will give you a Pokemon matching that type at a starter level. It would be level 5, and it would be of the type. So yes, this means you can cheese this a little bit and say you start with Eevee in Kanto and then you join the Dragon type guild to get a Dratini. But the caveat, this is another reason why I wanted to make the starters more special. There was another factor that I didn't mention. The caveat is that they don't have any special moves, and no matter when you get them, they're gonna be level 5, maybe even level 1. To really, not reward you for just getting a free Pokemon like this, if you want to do that. The things that set the starter apart from any other Pokemon you get, because every starter is obtainable in the game. Out of the 20 starters, 18 plus starters that there are, because we now have a starter for every type. And some of the types have multiple starters, because there's other Pokemon that make a great starter. For example, in Kanto, Normal has the representation of Rattata, Eevee, maybe Porygon as a starter. There would be some like gimmick starters like Porygon in some places. The final poison type Pokemon, what should I do here? I was actually gonna make it be Roselia. But yeah, the thing that makes the starter special is two things. One is that they get a special move that you can only earn through breathing or other special circumstances. So for example, you have a Dratini with extreme speed, which is what you get if you get the Dratini from Dragon's Den in Johto. You get a Chikorita with ancient power, a rock type move, which you can only get from a Chikorita and a special Chikorita that you get for beating the entirety of Mount Battle in the competitive mode in Pokemon XD. Let me take a look at the Hoenn Pokédex, again from Gen 6. I need another poison Pokemon. Probably gonna have to make it from that were introduced in another gen. That's okay. Tentacruel could be good. Vileplume maybe. Swalot is the signature of this gym leader. Perhaps a Weezing. Seviper is here. Dustox. I'm gonna give them a Tentacruel, because why not? Tentacool and Tentacruel still appear a lot all across the ocean when you're surfing. So they're very common to this region as well. Same with Johto, that doesn't change. Give me a second, I chose the wrong icon. I tried to stick to the Pokemon, not the Pokemon Home one, sorry, the official artwork. Because I like the look better. We're going on a good pace, all things considering. So this is the last type that needed representation. We have done all 18 gyms for Hoenn now, but we are not finished yet. There's some more. Whoops, hold on. Give me a second, I closed my gallery for the Hoenn cards. Yeah, there's something else coming, which is the parties for Champion Steven. He is the defending champion to determine champion rank trainers or something like that. And also May, Brendan, Emerald, and Wally. Emerald is based on a character from the Pokemon Adventures manga. So usually what we want to do here is to represent the player characters and the rivals as their own notable trainers here. Because it's fun to do so, and because now in this dream scenario, they would be your rivals as well. Before I do that though, I didn't finish talking about the starter uniqueness. The other element that your starter would have would be something I have called the multi-dimensional factor. The Tajigen factor, if you will, named after yours truly. Because Tajigen means multi-dimensional, that's why I always call myself the multi-dimensional Tajigen Kaiden. So, what is the multi-dimensional factor? It's something that's very unique to these games. When a Pokemon acquires this factor, they are able to switch forms between every Pokemon in their evolutionary line. So, if you give the multidimensional factor to a Dragonite, they can freely switch between Dratini and Dragonair. They can't do it in battle, but they do it outside of battle. You use an item in your inventory or in your Pokegear or your device or whatever, or maybe you interact with a machine or something. The Eevee from Adventures did for a time? I didn't know they did that. I had no idea about that. But, well, if that's what they did, yeah. And your starter would automatically get this once you become champion. Because you gotta become champion for this. And it unlocks a quest with an NPC, who would be me. It would be a self-insert. You know, every game creator has the right, and even fan game creators have the right to self-insert in the game in some form, and that's how I would do it. You would meet somebody called Kaiden Tajigen. And when you finally complete the quest line, your starter would have that. You would be able to grant this factor to anyone, but anybody who's not your starter would have very steep requirements for this, because this is a very overpowered thing after all. That kind of takes away from the Pokemon experience until they do that in the game. I can see them doing it, maybe. So, I'm not gonna go into all the requirements. I think we talked about this last week. But it's something like, you have to gather 10 of every Pokemon from the entire evolutionary line. So 10 Dratini, 10 Dragonair, 10 Dragonite. The one you're granting this to can count. And you also have, the one that you're granting this to has to be at least level 100. Maximum happiness. And I forget what else. There were some other things in there that you had to do. These sorts of requirements. You know what I like about doing this sort of thing, and also like the option to obtain X amount of type Pokemon as one of the requirements for the gym? It borrows from Pokemon Go and Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. I believe Legends Arceus did this. You can confirm that for me because I haven't played that yet. And even the latest games, I think the Galar games maybe had that. And the recent Scarlet and Violet games had that. But they encourage you to catch loads and loads of Pokemon, because before Pokemon Go was a thing, catching the same species as a Pokemon you've already had doesn't really give you a lot of benefit. Maybe if you want to build a competitive party, like you had, let's say, a Charizard as your starter, but you had them in your regular game party, and thus their IVs and EV spreads are all messed up. So you get yourself a Charmander through breeding in this case, so that you can train this Pokemon to be competitively viable, right? Taking care of their EVs and all that. Early in Pokemon Adventures manga, there was an Eevee that was experimented on by Team Rocket that could go between the 3 Evos and back. This one would be with less Team Rocket involvement. But yeah. That sort of thing. So that's the uniqueness of your starter. You would immediately get that because of the special bond you have with it, even if you just drop it into your box as soon as you get another Pokemon. But the thing is, you would be encouraged not to, because you have a great selection of Pokemon. It's still not every Pokemon in the region. Like, you know, I could even go as far as having every Pokemon, non-legendary and mythical, in their first stage of evolution be selectable as your starter, but I don't think I want to go that far. It already waters things down to have one of every type, especially in regions with underrepresented types like Kanto for the Ghost type, like Ghastly. The Ghastly evolutionary line, you get Ghastly as a Ghost starter, which is what I would go for because Ghost is my type. Excuse me. Ugh. Coughing a little bit. I'm trying to be careful when I laugh here. Can't laugh in my usual way all the time. Anyway. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so you get all the Ghost type Pokemon of the region when you get Ghastly, and the same goes for Dratini, for example. Right? So there's that difficulty when you have a starter in the region. But I digress. Let's get back to the card building. Now it's time for the actual Steven. We use an avatar of Steven to represent the Steel type specialist, but this is Steven in his regular outfit. He's like corporate champion outfit because of his whole association with the what was it, the Devon Corporation or the Stone Corporation, or no, yeah, it's the Devon Corporation, but the president is his father, I think. Remind me if I got it wrong. So Steven, his signature Pokemon is a Mega Metagross. And is shiny. So this one is gonna need the Pokemon Home icon, but that's alright. It's gonna look different than the others because I prefer to go for the official artwork. Either his father or grandfather. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, Mr. Stone, head of the Devon Corporation. I just keep remembering it as Stone Corporation because of this, but it's not the name. It's not the name. Doesn't have the name of like the president, CEO, if you will. I don't know. So one thing to remember, this is not a monotype steel party for him. So he gets a Claydol, which is based on his canonical parties in the games. Here canonical, I'm using to mean anything that officially appears in games, or manga, or anime. I have a different usage of the word canon than most people tend to have. To give you an example, if you know about Dragon Ball, for me, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Heroes, all of it is canon. The word that people use to mean canon, I think the word continuity fits that better. Ah, they're all canon, but they're separate continuities. So you'll find me doing this little you'll find me doing my own usage of the word like that. I feel like continuity fits that better, and canon is more like the word of God, if you will. I mean, I think it comes from the biblical canon term. And yeah, it's supposed to be like what God actually wants in the Bible or something. And it keeps changing because interpretations, apostles, what have you. Use the overall Xeno story shenanigans? No. Doesn't even need to have an explanation that, oh, this is a multiverse. No. No. Even if there's no explanation anywhere that there's a multiverse, it's still like that. Is this the Elite Four theme? I think it is. Or is it the legendary... No, this is the Team Magma Aqua leader. I sort of mix them up. Another example would be Star Wars, both Legends and what they call canon, ironically. Both of them are canon. Ah, but they're separate continuities. And if you want to go for something that has a myriad of continuities, let's talk about Marvel or DC, right? The 616 comic book universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the many like other comic book universes, the cartoon universes, as long as it's been officially published by Marvel or anybody that has any sort of official capacity, it's canon. At the same time, I also go for like things that were made by fans but have made such an impact on the media that, you know, they're fans of, that I feel like they should be canon as well. They should be considered canon. So if there's this big fan fiction that influenced the original media, maybe, I say that is canon. But this other addendum to the definition is debatable. Alright, we have Steven created now. Let's do May. Who is the child, the daughter of Norman? So in a way, I've chosen May to be the central player character. I think I would have her become... Yeah, she gets all 18 badges. And Brendan is the one that wins the tournament. So another thing, I said this earlier, but... partly based on the fact that you can have... there's like over 18 Pokemon to choose from as your starter. One of the initial cutscenes in the game would be that you're in the professor's lab. And they actually have... Oh, too bad there's no classic May. I wanted to have May in her classic outfit. Man, they should have that as an alternate outfit for May and Pokemon Masters. Like, this would have been nice as customization in Auras, Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Why is there no customization for them? So you can have maybe the classic outfits. It would have looked so nice. I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking that. But yeah, you would actually see over a dozen trainers appear at the beginning. But the only ones who would make it to a champion rank level, all the others just retire from the Pokemon League challenge, whichever way they were taking it. But there's 3 requirements to challenge the champion. One is to win the conference, the main tournament at the conference, which you can qualify for by earning 8 badges, but there might be other ways to qualify. Another is to earn all 18 badges, and you don't have to win the tournament, you just need the badges. But you know, it's all the 18 type badges. And another is to complete the Pokédex, the regional Pokédex. So the Pokédex situation is kind of different in this dream game. But yeah. So I would have May be the one. This would be spread out. So it's implied that only you and those other NPCs who are now your rivals, who were originally player characters and rivals or other notable characters like Wally, they are... Well, Wally is kind of a rival, actually. They are the only ones who go as far as you do, which is to become champion rank. Or elite rank, which is what you get by qualifying to become champion, but when you don't become champion. Either by not challenging at all, or by not winning the challenge against the champion. So May is the one that gets all the 18 badges, because there's this thing her father did to her, in which, as an optional requirement, you need to have at least 4 badges, which is what they did in the original games, for the player character who is the child of Norman. So she kind of, to prove herself, she endeavors to get all the badges. The one who wins the tournament is Brendan, and I would actually like to imply that the 8 badges that he earns are the original 8 gems from the original game, so we get to preserve that original source material in a way. Emerald and Wally, because there's this character called Emerald as well. Either Emerald or Wally completes the Pokédex. I'm thinking it's gonna be Emerald. So Emerald is the one that completes the Pokédex. Wally still qualifies by doing one of the other things again. So there's 2 that win the tournament or that get all the badges or something like that. I think with Wally winning the tournament would make sense. Like, you know, going into competitive battles like that. Well, the tournament may not be under competitive rules, but it makes me think of Wally appearing in the Battle Tree and the Alola games, right? For Dragon Ball, possibly the SS5 cost, that was waiting for 1000 Seraph fans, even though it's fan-made. Oh yeah, but it's not something that really influenced the original media that much. So I wouldn't say Super Saiyajin 5, as awesome and sick looking as it is, would really be something that I would call canon. Now, May's party. Yes, this is a party with one of the original 3 starters, and I say original because, again, they are no longer the only starters. She has a Mega Blaziken. She chooses Torchic as her starter. This is also based on the anime, because I think they gave her a different one in Adventures, but I'm not sure. And she has a multi-varied party. Many of these tend to be based on the Adventures manga, but I take my liberties. Sometimes to prevent the repetition of a type, but sometimes I don't care if types get repeated, it's okay. Just because you have 2 Pokemon of the same type, doesn't mean that your party is weaker. Even though, you know, if you have 2 ground-type Pokemon, you have a bigger weakness to water on paper, but Pokemon goes beyond just the type differences, I would say. And also, some type pairings, if you have a dual type, don't necessarily add more weaknesses to the Pokemon, but rather just change how their type effectiveness works. For example, if you have a normal Pokemon in your party and a normal flying-type Pokemon, yes, you are repeating the normal type, but the only weakness of the normal type is fighting, which you lose on the normal flying type because flying resists fighting. Though at the same time, your flying type is no longer resists fighting, is neutral damage, but also the normal type is immune to ghost type, and you retain that immunity in the normal flying type, so sometimes it even is beneficial. I think I have that with one of my parties, actually, in one of the regions. I have both a normal and a normal flying Pokemon, which I was hesitant to do at first, but when I realized what I just told you, I'm like, yeah, it works out, it works out. So now Brendan, yes. Brendan, actually, let me see if he has... Alright, yeah. I figured they wouldn't have the classic outfit either, but... Alright. He has Mega Swampert. The buff Mega Swampert, just flexing its muscles. Ooh, yeah. I can't go for the rough boys that much with how I'm sick right now. It's too much on my throat, which I don't wanna strain too much right now. I always get paranoid about this, thinking that there's gonna be some permanent damage. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, actually what I did for Brendan here, I gave him both a normal and a normal flying type. He has Swellow and he has Cast Form, but I might replace that Cast Form with somebody else. So there's my cargo. My Tiena. This is mostly based on the Adventures Party. And yeah, what the hell? Let's give him a cast form. I wonder if he should get a Gardevoir instead. He's gonna get a cast form. Just being able to change types a lot. This is subject to change though. If it changes to... excuse me. Yeah, I told you I'm sick, so my voice kind of gets very weird at times. If cast form changes, it changes to Gardevoir. Yeah, because I just took a look at Wally's party and he doesn't have a Gardevoir. I was thinking maybe he has both of Ralph's final evolutions, but he doesn't. He gets Galate. I love what they did with him in the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire games though. Make him achieve his full potential, if you will. Okay, this is based on a character from the Adventures manga. I'm gonna have to use a placeholder. Once again, Ash Ketchum. No particular reason why. I just needed that sort of placeholder. Emerald is the one that got Trico as their starter because I think we mostly retain the original story of Wally in which he doesn't get a Pokemon from the professor. Even with this modified version in which there's like over a dozen trainers there at the beginning. And I probably would make Ralts a starter. No. Wally, who is a sickly boy who wasn't really able to go to the professor's lab, finally starts being able to go out somehow. With the heavy asthma or whatever it is that he has. And I think this is the legendary Pokemon fight. Yeah. Yeah, this is the legendary... The Groudon Kyogre fight, although... I think it's for every legendary, the Regis and Rayquaza have it too, but... Well, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire changes it. This is mostly for Groudon and Kyogre. Anyway. Wally... The original story of Wally is that he shows up first when you first visit your father's gym as the player character, which is the Petalburg normal type gym. He appears there asking for Norman's help to catch a Pokemon, and Norman assigns you to help him, and he manages to catch a Ralts. In the original Ruby Sapphire Emerald, he doesn't go any further than that. He doesn't go for like a full party. Like, he doesn't become a rival as much as the other one, you know, the player character you didn't choose becomes, but he, in the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire games, they make him go further than that. And this continues in the Alola games, when he shows up in the battle tree with an amazing party. So this is Emerald's party, mostly based on the Pokemon Adventures manga. The last 3 Pokemon are actually sort of randomly selected between many Pokemon that he used, because one thing with Emerald is that he doesn't believe in catching Pokemon because of his unique background in the story there. So Snorlax, Mr. Mime, and Mantine are based on Pokemon he had before. Here I don't preserve the Gentry purity, quote unquote, that much, it's okay. We've seen plenty of representation already elsewhere, it's alright to have it here. But yeah, in this case Emerald changes so that he owns a few Pokemon, or just these few. Yeah, it would make sense not to make Emerald the Pokédex completionist. I guess that would be a full 180 from the Emerald of Pokemon Adventures, which is, I guess, a nice irony we could have. We could have it as an ironic sort of twist. Because Brendan and May each won the tournament. Oh, no, wait! No! Actually, we can change this. We could make it so that Emerald wins the tournament, and Brendan is the one that completes the Pokédex, because I did say that Brendan, in this case, is the grandson, or I think son, I still don't remember, of Professor Birch. Yeah. And because he's associated with the Pokemon Professor, it makes sense that he would focus more on the completion of the Pokédex. I think Wally may also win the tournament. That also makes some sense. Okay. That works out, yeah. That, I think, works better. Okay, so now Wally. He also got a unique theme in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I love it too. My boy, my boy. Anybody harms him, you will hear from me. But he's more powerful than he lets on. Able to overcome his sickness, basically. It's a nice story. I love it. And because they made him have this story of surpassing his limits, so to speak, in the games after the original generation, he gets to have a Galate, an evolution of Ralph that was introduced after Gen 3. And Galate becomes his signature Pokemon, which is interesting. It's great when stories can reach that sort of level of, let's call it retcon. Storytelling can be great like that when it's done in that way. Oh yeah, suffice to say that these games, these dream games that I'm thinking about, would also be a sort of retelling of the original story. I first conceived them as a sort of sequel of the original games, implying that all the leagues changed all around the world after a great globalization. This great globalization also makes it so that Gigantamax, Dynamax, Terastallizing, things that are unique to a region are also present worldwide. But it also means that all the Pokemon leagues changed their format everywhere around the world, and this was mostly having 18 gyms required for their league. Alola became a part of this as well. They established their league, and they established it by becoming a part of this new globalized league. And the player characters would be past champions, implying that their original game stories happened. You would encounter them later as past champions. But now it has changed because I want to make the player characters and rivals and such as your rivals. So while you're having your journey through Kanto, when you first start in Professor Oak's lab, among the many NPCs you see, you're going to see Red, Blue, Leaf, or Green if you prefer. I like to think her name is both Green and Leaf, or Leaf Green. She has two names, but sometimes she chooses to go by Leaf, sometimes by Green. So Red, Blue, Leaf, maybe Chase, Elaine, and Trace. And after they choose their starter, you encounter them as your rivals everywhere, all across the place. They show up in some quests, probably, and that's where you face them. They would always be unexpected battles, like most rival battles tend to be. And I would even make it so that if you lose to them, you don't black out, you don't white out. You just lose, and the game probably automatically heals your party or something. Or it heals them with half their health, revives everyone. But it's like, it registers as a victory for the rival. And you can't do anything about that unless you go for a previous save. But if you didn't save enough before that, which you may not have because it's a surprise to get this battle, until eventual battles like on the championship or tournament or whatever, yeah, you would have to reload even further. So you have to deal with the loss. And I like it. You're supposed to be rivals, right? I like to believe that on the journey to the Pokemon League, Blue did beat Red a few times. I think Gary beat Ash a few times. So I think it was a back and forth between them. I prefer to think of it that way. I prefer when rivalries have wins on both sides, because there's a lot of like one-sided rivalries and I don't like it. I've seen them in pro wrestling as well, like two wrestlers who are said to be rivals, but one of them always wins over the other. In other things like Yugi and Kaiba, Yugi's always the winner. Goku and Vegeta, nearly all the time Goku is the winner. On a few special occasions, Vegeta kind of counts as the winner. There's something that happened in the recent movie that I won't say much of because it might be a spoiler, but there's a potential win on the record of Goku versus Vegeta for Vegeta. But yeah, you know, those sorts of things where they're rivals, but it's one-sided. One of them always wins over the other. Like, it doesn't quite work for me. And sometimes they have ties, maybe. That's a possibility. Okay, finally the last Pokemon for Wally here is Kecleon. This is based on his party in the games, more than the Adventures manga. Don't know how much he got in the Adventures manga. You look at him, especially with his green hair, and it feels like he's the one that represents Emerald. You know, Brendan represents Ruby, May represents Sapphire, and Wally represents Emerald, but given his unique storyline, I wanted him to be his own character separate from the Emerald representative, and so I took Emerald from the Adventures manga. Oh, and also in Kanto, I may or may not go for Yellow from the Adventures manga. I like the idea of also representing somebody from every Pokemon game. But given that the Let's Go Pikachu representative, who is Chase, the male player character for that game, and Let's Go Eevee, would have a Pikachu, Red wouldn't have a Pikachu, he would have a Raichu. We did this 2 weeks ago on the Kanto stream. But yeah, given that Chase gets a Pikachu, to have Yellow also like with her own Pikachu or whatever doesn't quite sound right. So there wouldn't be a Yellow Alright, those are all the characters. So, that will do the trick right there. Let's switch to another game screen. We're gonna switch to the screen right here. So, finally we have completed them. It's about 3 hours and 20 minutes into the stream. So, we're about to wrap things up by looking at everyone. Right here. Give me a second. Gotta do a little slideshow for this. So this is from my file of the Johto slideshow. Give me a second. I'm going to delete every single one of the files. I probably just shouldn't show it. Give me a second. I can modify it without having to show it. It's easier that way. It's over 20 different trainer cards because there's 18 types and then all the special characters. And in this case, yeah, Wallace is another special character. So it's like there's 2 water type experts, but one of them is a gym leader and the other became champion and later chose not to be a defending champion anymore. It would be within the game's continuity that Wallace was once the defending champion, but then he either gave up the position and Steven got it back, or Steven beat him again and he chose to become the defending champion. But Wallace was also like, yeah, it's okay, I don't want to continue being the defending champion, I want to be a roaming trainer maybe, and yeah. Oh yes, this is the Reggie battle theme. There you go. Alright, so let me add every single one of the files from the Hoenn folder here. Yes, I think they are in alphabetical order. Beat. Did I say something wrong? M? And yeah, the chat is not visible here, I hope that's okay. So, alright, let's do the screen like this. And I think it will work out to do it this way. Alright, so summarizing everything. First, the Bug-type Gym Leader in this ultimate version of the Pokemon Hoenn games. With a very different kind of Pokemon League that encourages you to like have all sorts of gym challenges. It's open world and there's a gym for every type because it's fun to do that, damn it. Beat it by another trainer, be like, ugh. Oh, I thought I mispronounced beat or something. Okay. Yeah, well, it does suck to have Wallace be dethroned like that. So maybe I wouldn't do that. I would have him step down. I mean, if you think about it, Steven loses a lot. Because he gets challenged by you, the player character, and the others become champion rank as well. Brendan, May, Wally, Emerald, I think. They all challenge him and become champions at some point. There's a passage of time that's implied, but it's not actually like in-game time. For example, there's seasons that happen every 3 months, but it wouldn't actually be reflected in game time. Anytime you want to be in the tournament, it would automatically be... The game would automatically be the end of the season, so you can be in the conference, in the main tournament or whatever. And the same with the championship challenge, probably. If I implement it like that. No. The Bug-type Gym Leader. Oh my gosh, my voice is so strained. I really gotta take it easy after the stream with this. The Bug-type Gym Leader has Ninjask, their signature Pokemon, Shedinja, Dustox, Beautyfly, Volbeat, and Illumise. Ball, Fall, Bug, Monotype Party. Next is... Oh yeah. Next is the Dark-type Gym Leader, which in this case is Sydney. He has a Mega Absol. And these are always the highest potential parties. One thing I didn't finish talking about earlier actually was that with all the different tiers based on your amount of batches that you have, there would actually be a challenge tier. So you would have 19 different tiers from 0 batches to 18 batches. But after you become the champion, you would be able to have a special tier that is the 20th tier, which is the special challenge tier in which you challenge the gym leaders on their competitive rules, which is, you know, every Pokemon scale down to 50, shifting in battle is not allowed, so, you know, you can't shift before the other person's Pokemon comes out, if you fainted their Pokemon, and that's really it. Like, other competitive rules, like one species clause wouldn't be there, sleep clause even, it probably wouldn't be there, but yeah. But it is 6 versus 6 though, it's not 3 versus 3. So you get to see the entire party. That's part of the appeal behind this. So yes, this is Mega Absol, Mightyena, Shiftry, Crawdaunt, Cacturne, and Sharpedo. Some of these we're gonna see again in other parties. For the Dragon-type Gym Leader, the Rake. He has a Mega Salamence, Altaria, Flygon, Roaring Moon, which is a Paradox Pokemon version of Salamence. And I think Roaring Moon is a Dragon Dark type, but I'm not sure. Dragalch and Haxorus. At this point, they need to reach beyond Hoenn, which is well, it's kind of an inevitable thing. This is only for this challenge party. I feel like even in the later tiers, when you challenge them, for example, if you challenge them with 17, 18 batches or so, or even before that, when they already have a 6 Pokemon team, they would probably repeat Pokemon, so he might have 2 Salamence, he may not even have Roaring Moon at that point. Yeah, he has Salamence that's not Mega, right? Agatha in Kanto, if she remains the gym leader, again, I may re-implement the Elite Four, but Agatha would have multiple Gengar in her parties, and then for the challenge party, it's a different story. The Electric type gym leader Watson, there is yet to be a Watson character in Master CX, so that means they don't have the model in Pokecharms in these modern makers, so we had to use the placeholder. But his signature Pokemon Manectric, Plusle, Minun, Iron Hands, the future Paradox version of Hariyama, Magnezone, and Electrode. Again, these Paradox versions are subject to change, depending on if they become the legendary. Because even on that challenge tier, that 20th challenge tier for these gym leaders, they wouldn't have a legendary nor mythical Pokemon. We might have like a super secret special challenge tier where they get to use those. Crystal Clear actually gave the gym leaders in their final tiers or so legendaries and mythicals. For example, Erika has a Celebi in her party, because Celebi is a grass type. They even gave a Lugia to Misty. Lugia is not a water type, but it's associated with the water a lot, because of where you find it, in the Whirl Islands and all that. It's hilarious. I believe Zapdos is in Lieutenant Surge's party, and so on. Anyway, the Fairy-type gym leader in Hoenn. They have Mawile, Gardevoir, Azumarill, Mega Altaria, and Mega Evolution is necessary so that Altaria can be a Fairy-type, Wigglytuff, and Sylveon. Then Brawly, the Fighting-type gym leader, has his signature Hariyama, Medicham, Breloom, Blaziken, Machamp, and Heracross. Flannery, the Fire-type gym leader, has her signature Torkoal, and then Camerupt, Blaziken, also here, Magcargo, Houndoom, and Rapidash. Maybe I should say the types of the Pokemon as well. Well, anyway, Winona, the Flying-type gym leader. By the way, sorry if you're hearing any dog barks in the background. There's a neighbor's dog barking a bit. Ooh, the Elite Four. No, this is the Frontier Brain theme. Aha. Oh yes, actually, you know what I considered? I think some of the Frontier Brains would actually make good gym leaders. So the Poison-type gym leader can be one of the Frontier Brains. I forget her name, but I think she's the one that has... like, her whole arena is based on Seviper. So in this case, I made Swalot be the signature of the Poison-type gym leader here, but in this case, Seviper would be her signature instead. As a Frontier Brain, she doesn't specialize on any types, but this was changed as a gym leader. I don't know if I would have a Battle Frontier in every game, actually. That's a different story. Anyway, Winona, her signature Altaria, who never Mega Evolves, because once it Mega Evolves, it loses the Fairy type. I mean, the Flying type for the Fairy type. Pelipper, Swellow, Tropius, Masquerain, and Skarmory. Next is the Ghost-type gym leader Phoebe. The gym is probably located around Mount Pyre, whether there's a settlement there or not, because we gotta do a lot of new cities and towns. So this is another big modification to the maps in the game, because we need places for all these gyms, you know? Some of them can be sort of in the wilderness, but ideally we want them to be in a town or city. So yeah. Her signature Dusknoir, Banette, Mega Sableye, Shedinja, Marowak, and Mismagius. That Mismagius is subject to change. The Grass-type gym leader. Their signature Tropius, Cacturn, Shiftry, Breloom, Ludicolo, and Cradily. Can't help but think of Mirror B every time I see that Ludicolo. Oh my gosh, I can't. I gotta hold by my laughter. I'm sick. Anyway, the Ground-type gym leader, their signature Flygon. Or maybe Camerupt should be their new signature, but, well, Flygon is a good one. Because Flygon is a dragon type as well, but the primary is ground. And the previous evolutionary stages start out as a ground type. Like Trapinch, for example. The dragon type is gained in the evolutions. Then Claydol, Swampert, Camerupt, and Whiscash. Oh, and sorry, Sandslash. Glacia, the Ice-type gym leader. She has her signature Mega Glalie, Frostlass, Walrein, Abomasnow, Vanillux, and Beartick. Norman, the normal type gym leader. I believe every single one of these Pokemon is also a pure normal type, which is funny how that works. A lot of the times normal type gym leaders tend to have pure normals. Anyway, Slacking, his signature, Spinda, Kecleon, Castform, Exploud, and Zangoose. Well, yeah, Nicken, because Brendan is not related to Norman in this instance, he wouldn't have Castform. Maybe. Well, it's not necessarily because Norman also has it that I gave him Castform. But yeah. So, the signature for this person, the Poison-type gym leader, is either Swalot or Seviper. If it's Seviper, that means we're using this person from the Battle Frontier. Give me a second here, actually. Let me show you what I mean by getting back into the web browser here and showing you Bulbapedia. The Battle Frontier in Generation 3, there's a facility that is... Yeah, the Battle Pike. When you see the Battle Pike, it's themed after a Seviper. Even though there's no Poison-type specialty, but one may imply that the Frontier Brain of that facility, Lucy, Tyqueen Lucy, has Seviper as her signature Pokemon. So, if Lucy becomes a Poison-type gym leader here, to also give that, then she becomes... she becomes a gym leader, and Seviper is now the signature of the Poison-type gym leader here. The new Poison-type gym leader. But yes, getting back into this. Either Swalot or Seviper. Because the thing about the Frontier Brains is that if I have a Battle Frontier, having somebody be both a Frontier Brain and gym leader should be a rarity. If I have the Frontier not show up, then I think a lot of the Frontier Brains would turn into gym leaders for the regions in which this applies. But yeah, the rest of the Poison Pokemon here: Dustox, Roserade, Crobat. Is it Roserade or Roserade? I know I pronounce a few Pokemon names differently, but still. And Tentacruel. Tate and Lisa. In this case, it's not just Lisa. Lunatone, Solrock, Claydol, Grumpig, Chimico, I hope I said that right, and Gardevoir. And in this case, Lunatone and Solrock are the signature of each. I think Lisa has Lunatone and Tate has Solrock, but I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. So the Psychic type gym leaders. I will eventually have to do a separate party for each of them. I'll eventually do that. Then Roxanne, the Rock type gym leader. Her signature Probopass. Then Armaldo, Cradily, Relicanth, Aggron, and Golem. The Steel type gym leader, who is not Steven, this is just a placeholder. Mega Aggron, which now becomes a pure Steel type. Metagross, Steel Psychic, Mawile, Steel Fairy, Skarmory, Steel Flying, Magnezone, Steel Electric type, and Klefki, Steel Fairy type. That works out, I'd say. Hoenn, the Water type gym leader, remember it's not a Wallace in this case. His signature Whiscash, which is a Water Ground type if I recall correctly. Hauntail, I think is pure Water. Gorbis, pure Water. Crawdaunt. Oh, now it is the Elite Four theme. Yeah. The one thing that sucks about making the Elite Four gym leaders as well is that you will lose the Elite Four music. Because you still have the gym leader music there for them. But if I bring the Elite Four back in some way, then they would keep this music back. But yeah, Crawdaunt, Water Dark type, Luvdisc, pure Water type, and Kingdra, Water Dragon type. Brendan. So that's all the gym leaders. Now the other notable characters that are probably the ones who achieve champion rank status, and one of them is indeed the defending champion. His signature Pokemon, Mega Swampert, a Water Ground type. Breloom, Grass Fighting type. Swellow, Normal Flying type. Macargo, Rock Fire type, or Fire Rock. I sometimes get the order wrong, but whatever. Mightyena, pure Dark type. And cast form, pure normal, or instead of cast form, maybe it's Gardevoir, psychic fairy type. Then the next trainer is Emerald, who doesn't have an image here, based on the adventure's character. Mega Sceptile, their signature. Then Sudowoodo, pure rock type. Dusknoir, pure ghost type. Snorlax, pure normal type. Mr. Mime, psychic fairy type. And Mantine, water flying type, if I recall correctly. Then May, her signature Blaziken, Mega Blaziken, fire fighting type. Aggron, steel rock type. Tropius, grass flying type. Claydol, ground psychic type. Wailord, pure water type. And Delcatty, pure normal type. Next is the defending champion Steven. His mega shiny Metagross, steel psychic type. Aggron, steel rock type. Claydol, ground psychic type. Skarmory, steel flying type. Bradley, which was it bog rock type or grass rock type? I think it was grass rock. And Armaldo is the one that's bog rock type. So yeah. And then Wallace, as the champion rank trainer, he still sticks to the monotype though. So he has his signature Milotic, Mega Sharpedo, water dark type. Walrein, water ice type, or rather I think it's ice water. No, I don't remember. Ludicolo, water grass type. Swampert, water ground type. And Wailord, pure water type. What is great about this is that it still becomes quite different than Juan's party. And yeah, we're sticking fully to like Gen 3 Pokemon, although Juan's party does go beyond Gen 3 a little bit. Taking a look at it again. He has Kingdra, but that's literally the only Pokemon. There's a lot of water representation in Hoenn. No, and I mean, I did say that water types tend to be plenty in every Pokemon game, because, you know, the ocean is vast, it covers a lot of the world. But, oh, and we're hearing the champion theme while looking at Steven here. Very fitting, eh? But, Hoenn is one of those that's known for being super watery. Like, there's more water in it than other regions. There's a lot of coast around it. They're very coastal. Slateport City reflects this. Dewford Town, I think. So there's that. And then Wally, his signature Mega Gallade, psychic fighting type, or was it fighting psychic? I forget. Rose Raid, grass, poison type, I think. Altaria, dragon flying. Azumarill, water fairy. Magnezone, electric steel. And Kecleon, pure normal. And with that we are finished. After this it just loops back to the first trainer. So that, my friends, superstars, supernovas, maniacs, is the entire Pokédex. Yeah. It was nearly a 4-hour stream today too. I need to rest my voice a little bit. I'm gonna take some extra water right now because I think I strained it a little bit too much. It sounds very raspy, I think. Raspier than I would like it to feel. I may do some vocal exercises or attempt some singing just to gauge how it all is. I always get paranoid that there's gonna be some permanent damage done to my vocal lungs or something. Hopefully not. But anyway, that is the end of the Hoenn League building. I really need to start doing this faster because this is very long for what we're doing on the stream here. But I want to keep sticking to all of them and do one for every region, except Hisui. Hisui, as we will see on the next one, is represented in the Sinnoh Pokédex. And well, also in other Pokédexes when they have Hisuian forms. One of the things that comes with the Great Globalization from these Dream Pokemon games, as it's called, the Great Globalization, that's a name I have for it, is that Pokemon from the past are able to be resurrected in a way. Pokemon variants and Pokemon from the past are able to be resurrected back in the present day. This is something that first began as the fossil Pokemon. So it's something that scientists continue to research, and it's a plot line in Scarlet and Violet without going into too many details. So again, there's sequel-like elements in these games to the games we had, but there's also a reboot of sorts because of the status of the player characters and rival and all that. So there's that. So yes, with all that being said, let me return to the screen here remind you about the stream schedule for this week. Again, I had to cancel yesterday, unfortunately, because I was even worse than today. I've been so sick, and yesterday was like worse than it's been. Oh, yeah, my voice is so raspy right now. I don't like it. Anyway, so that was the YouTube stream today for the Pokemon Hoenn League. Tomorrow at the same starting time is gonna be Final Fantasy XIV Friday, Final Fantasy Friday. We continue on with that. I think next week we'll have it too. But the week of my birthday, especially if I do a subathon on December 10th, which is a Saturday, I think I will just not have a stream on Friday. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, then Japanese learning. The Japanese learning stream at a much earlier time on Saturday. As long as everything goes to plan, we'll have that. My sleep schedule got a little bit messed up because of this sickness. But I'm making an effort to wake up early. Actually, oversleeping and waking up later makes it get worse. The thing is, I don't know if I oversleep because of the sickness. If I do, it's like a causal loop of sorts. It's a vicious circle. Anyway, the point is, I'll try not to oversleep. You know, when you're sick, you feel like sleeping a little bit more, but at the same time, I just get a bigger headache when I oversleep. Oversleeping is not good. There's such a thing as sleeping in, but I have a bad history with doing that and with sleep in general. But I digress. That is the schedule for this week, Maniacs. Thank you so much for joining me today. In whichever way you joined me for today's stream, it was so lovely. I still want to do this faster than I do. I take all my tangents to talk about things and everything. But I would like to do it faster. And today I wanted to do it faster too because I'm sick, but it worked out. It worked out. It's not too late for me. And I can just take it easy for the rest of the day. So, for now, Maniacs, whichever way I see you next, お疲れ様です。